continuing the tradition.
Here he goes! See you later! And he's got it on the record track! Touchdown! Touchdown!
ABC Sports, Championship Television.
Line up in the power I again. The nation's leading rusher in the tailbacks. Dudley indicating he's going to lead block for him. Perry cuts away from the interference and picks up a couple of yards. Tackle made by Justin Tuck, number 44, defensive end for the Irish. Avant brings in the play from the sidelines, and Minery comes out. Brian Thompson in as the fullback. Two wide, and a fullback and a tight end, bringing Avant in motion. Hit before he can release, ball comes loose, and the Irish pounce on it at the 39-yard line. As Navarre back to pass, coughs it up, number 33 comes clean on him. Courtney Watson, his first start, and the Irish behind Carlisle Holiday will attack with only half a field. The first fumble of the year, and Brandon Hoyt, a linebacker for the Irish, recovers the ball and gives Notre Dame a golden opportunity here.
Fairly easy pre-read. Michigan had to know, especially John Navarre had to know they were blitzing. Both safeties were over the tight end that time, tipping it and giving it away.
Slot receiver to the left for Holiday. Power I for the Irish. Draw play to open the game with Ryan Grant. Bounces off a tackle and makes the most of it as he picks up about a yard before Jeremy LeSueur, the defensive back, number 21, brings him down. Stovall, number 21, brings the play in from the sideline, and he will be split to the left side. Now he goes a little bit inside to a slot formation. Michigan shows pressure. The blitz is coming. Picked up. Holiday short. No gain on the play because of the defense by Marlon Jackson, the free safety. So number 3 makes his first hit of the game. Roaming center field and all over.
Little slide pass to the fullback in the flat. They had the right play against the defense, but Marlon Jackson's superior athletic ability was all over the fullback. The second guy out to his side.
With a little breeze at their back, if the Irish don't get it, you can expect Nicholas Setta to attempt a long field goal. Remember, he hit 5 against Washington State in that comeback a week ago in South Bend. Now the slot man is off to the right. The slot man and the wide man are staying very close together. Under pressure. Incomplete. It's a 4th down and decision to be made as Larry Stevens comes in with pressure. So Larry Stevens pressures Holiday on a 3rd down, and now Nicholas Setta indicates that they will punt it away and not try a long field goal attempt. Not wanting to risk field position here. Ty Willingham believing that he could be involved in a low-scoring, tight defensive game, has elected not to gamble here in the early going and give up field position. Marcus Curry is back deep for the Wolverines, standing at their 10-yard line. And Setta, the do-everything kicker, line drive, headed for the end zone, and it goes into the end zone. So John Navarre and Gary Danielson, let's talk about Navarre. And you said he had trouble reading the blitz on the play in which the Irish forced that fumble on their first series.
It's really overloaded defense by Notre Dame. They're going to try to stop the run. Talked to Kent Fair, their defensive coordinator. I said, you're going to try to stop them with 7-man front or 8. He says, we're going to put 8 up there. We have to force John Navarre to beat us. The safety will be up all day.
Nation's leading rusher. Perry gets the call as a big hole right side. Brought down on the 25-yard line. Notre Dame, a very, very strong front seven. That was Brandon Hoyt, who already has recovered a fumble and now makes the tackle of the nation's leading rusher. So Chris Perry, averaging better than 200 yards a game, has carried twice here for 8 yards in the early going, and now we have a 2nd down and 5 for the Wolverines. Edwards is the motion man. He'll turn back outside. Here comes Perry. Picks his daylight. Short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and short as again Hoyt, number 39, makes the stop for the Irish.
Interesting player, Brandon Hoyt. He's in because Mike Goolsby is injured, but every time Brandon Hoyt has started a game for Notre Dame, he's been the leading tackler on their team. He has 4 starts. This is his 5th. In all 4 games, he's been the leading tackler.
Greg Pauley checks into the Irish defensive front. Hilliard, number 50, down in the nose position, fronting that offensive line. What a battle that'll be all day long. Perry, first down, pops it through to the 36-yard line. A great block. Earl makes the stop. Matt Lentz and Tony Pape on the right side of that Michigan offensive line blew it open.
One of the main changes that Michigan has made this year, if you talk to people following them and you watch them on tape, more man-on-man blocking. Not as much zone plays where they all would step to their left and look for somebody to block or step to the right. They're signaling out a man and trying to root him out.
Now they empty the backfield and go 4 wide as Perry, an excellent receiver, is out to the left. Navarre getting protection in the middle. Throws now to Edwards, his first reception, and he takes it out to the 46-yard line, and that'll leave Michigan with about a 2nd and 1 coming up. Justin Tuck, the defensive end, back on the stop for the Irish.
Well, you can really see the difference in Michigan's attack as you see the Notre Dame secondary right there. Edwards is going to come right into the middle, a little 5-yard stop pass. Secondary is deep, trying to let everything happen in front of them. That's Notre Dame's game plan, at least until Michigan gets to the 25-yard line.
To Massacoy, the H-back look, number 88, through the formation. Here he comes again. Perry twists. Believe it's going to be just short of a first down, but we'll hold on and let him spot it as Budenzack. Kyle Budenzack, number 92, makes a stop for the Irish.
Boy, the hitting at the point of attack is fierce. The defensive line, the offensive line. Here's Justin Tuck. Watch him take on the blocker right here and force Perry to read it. Boom! Right in the backfield and force Perry to go a different direction. Every successful run play has been off and a backside cut for both teams.
Carl Tabb checks in as a wideout, number 17. He'll go out to the left. Edwards is slotted. They continue to shuttle wide receivers in and out of the Michigan sideline now. 1st and 10. Long handoff. Perry doesn't have any daylight. 2nd down and long. The Irish with an excellent seal on that side defensively as Derek Curry forced him back inside and made the stop. Well defended by the linebacker. Now it's the Irish turn as Freddie Parrish checks into the defensive backfield. They take out the nose man, number 50. They go to the nickel here. Hilliard goes to the sideline. Edwards will go out to the left now. They'll slot Abe out. The Wolverines will to the right. Carl Tabb way out to the right. Navarre comes back with a running play. Perry jitterbugs. And again, close to a first down. This should leave the Wolverines with 3rd and short right now. Watson makes the stop. And right away, what we notice about Chris Perry is his ability to read daylight on the move. He's coming to the line of scrimmage, and if the hole isn't there, he's going left or right, depending on where he sees the daylight. An excellent performance so far, and he has rushed 7 times for 30 yards.
There's never been a doubt about Chris Perry's ability to run the ball. He had to learn the little things to play in Michigan. I don't know if they're called little around here. Blocking, assignments, catching the ball. That's where he was lacking.
In a hurry now on 3rd down. Navarre has it set, gets it off. Short drop, fired high and incomplete. A little bit too high for Edwards, who was working the middle. Now it's 4th and short. Decision time for Lloyd Carr.
That said a lot right there. Michigan going to a pass, a drop back pass on 3rd and short. That's Navarre's problem right there. The short passes, even though he's 6'5", he sails them.
Finley on the field to punt. Adam Finley averaged 43 yards.
Notre Dame is playing safe defense. They kept their defense on the field. They're going to play the run first.
Vontez Duff, though, is back deep, standing at the 10-yard line. One of the more dangerous return men. We expect to have some spectacular returns. This is going to be low. They're trying to keep it away from him toward the end zone. A beautiful punt by Finley. And it'll be down to the 7-yard line. An excellent job by Adam Finley, number 39. So here comes Holiday out now for the Irish second possession. They had half the field to work with in their first, and they could not get it done against this Michigan D. So we're still scoreless here in the early going. 8:11 to go. Meanwhile, in that overtime game, Ohio State scored. They lead it 31-24. North Carolina State trying to force it to a second overtime, but they must score a touchdown. Craig Krenzel threw the scoring pass to his tight end. Rena McKnight goes in motion. One running back. And it is Grant to the 9-yard line.
Wonderful play that time by Jeremy LeSueur. The corner came in, bump and run coverage. Ryan Grant could have turned that into a big play. LeSueur is actually playing in the spot that Marlon Jackson played a year ago. The Michigan defense feeling they can get more spots for Marlon Jackson, more touches, if you will. Him in the action with him playing safety.
Second down. On 1st and goal, North Carolina State was sacked by the Buckeye defense. It will now be 2nd and goal. Keeping an eye on that overtime. Some of you have switched away here in the Detroit area. Here's Holiday for the Irish. He'll throw it incomplete now, and it is 3rd down.
Well, there's where you want Carlisle Holiday to beat the guy in front of him and run for 5 or 6 yards. Carl Diggs, the linebacker, is kind of forcing Holiday to throw the ball. There's no one open on the play, and you want your quarterback, especially this quarterback, to get you something besides 3rd and 9 on your own 8-yard line.
7:26. Jared Clark goes out to the sideline. Stovall, McKnight, and Omar Jenkins. They go 3 wide. Grant, the running back. 3rd down and 8. Nothing doing, and the Irish forced a punt from their own end zone, and North Carolina State has just scored, kicked the extra point. They have forced Ohio State into a second overtime at the Horseshoe, tied at 31. Here we are, scoreless, first quarter. Pierre Woods out of Cleveland, Ohio, an outside linebacker, making the stop on 3rd down, and now Setta backed up near that end line. A very, very dangerous spot here for the Irish now. Steve Bruston, their young whiz, near midfield for the Wolverines, and this time they should wind up with excellent field position. But first things first, on the money with a snap. Here he comes now. He's supposed to be a dandy. Hole in the middle. Got daylight. Here he goes. Can Setta stop him? I don't know. Stopped at the 2-yard line. Steve Bruston. Remember that name. They were called over during practice one day. The coaches were. They said to Lloyd, this youngster's playing on a scout team. This was last year. Nobody can stop him. They couldn't wait to turn him loose. And watch this.
Preston has been asking to return punts. He got his wish. Setta forces him out, I think, about on the 8-yard line. I think he steps out. I don't know. He's cut back cleanly. But, boy, look at this stride from behind. Once he gets going, a guy who throws the ball also, and we will probably see that in this game.
Timeout has been called by the Irish. With the Wolverines threatening here in the first quarter, 6:29 left in the opening quarter. We're scoreless at the Big House between Notre Dame and Michigan. And of course there are 2 key plays. Let's go back to the fact that Notre Dame could not do anything working with half a field. The Michigan defense held on. Then Finley was able to punt them out of difficulty, and Bruston on the return. So the Wolverines standing up after an early turnover here in the big house, and now they've got a 1st and goal, Gary.
That's why Michigan people believe this could be a great football team. They've got a difference maker on defense in Marlon Jackson. They have weapons at the wide receiver, and their offensive line and Chris Perry, as you've noted, can run the ball. The one guy they're wondering about is John Navarre. Can his 5th-year senior do exactly like Tom Brady and Brian Griese did when they were a 4-year program guy?
There's the always calm John Navarre. If you're wondering about his style, of course, many of you in the Detroit area are so familiar with him. Not particularly mobile, but he's big, has a good arm downfield. 6:29 to go now, scoreless, and the Wolverines are threatening. Perry lines up. 2 tight ends, a familiar Michigan power look. They show strength to the right side, and it'll be Perry cut back, dive for the end zone, touchdown! Touchdown, Michigan! Chris Perry dives to the end zone, and after the spectacular punt return of 55 yards by Steve Bruston, the Wolverines strike first.
They load up to the right side. Chris Perry, who we got to get into talking about this turf a little bit, looks a lot quicker on this turf than he did a year ago, and just vaults himself into the end zone.
Adam Finley on to kick the extra point. We were expecting to see Garrett Rivas, but instead it'll be Finley, and Finley nails it to make it 7-0. So Jack Arute will check in on what the kicking situation is down below. Meanwhile, if you're wondering what's going on in the horseshoe, tied at 31, North Carolina State has the first possession in the second overtime.
Get a little push up front from Michigan. That's pretty simple to take it in against this Notre Dame defense that has a lot of pride in playing short yardage and goal line defense. And Michigan's offensive line, where people around here are saying this is the best since they had Hutch and the guys back a couple years ago, Jeff Backus and Hutch. And this team looks physical. This team looks very, very ready to play this game.
Perry, 8 carries, 32 yards, and that is 5th rushing touchdown of the season. Troy Nienberg is the kickoff specialist for the Wolverines. And Julius Jones, one of the deep men, along with Vontez Duff for the Irish. The Irish behind. Remember, they were down 17-0 for Washington State last week, and then came back. Fielded by Jones at the 4-yard line, working on the left sideline. Tiptoes, and he's out of bounds finally at the 26 or 7-yard line, where the Irish will put it in play again. Loses 2-3 yards as Ernest Shazer, the strong safety, number 25, up for the stop. Not only is the Michigan offense impressive here in the early going, but this defense all over Holiday and the Irish so far.
With as active as Marlon Jackson and Ernest Shazer are as safeties, it seems to me Notre Dame must challenge the Michigan corners. If there is a weak spot, they must attack outside.
Raymond McKnight comes through the formation for the Irish. Fake handoff, and he's not going to get it off. He did not fool Larry Stevens, who broke free from the left side of the Michigan defense and sacked Holiday, slammed him to the turf.
And man on the line of scrimmage, we're running a bootleg. You see a bust right here. 2 Notre Dame players take the same guy. A missed assignment on the offensive line. Watch, the tackle and guard block the same guy. No one blocks Larry Stevens. That's a bust, and that's what cost you a sack.
A 10-yard sack, making it 3rd and 22.
And Notre Dame must be very careful here.
They have exactly 0 yards for this game. Michigan with 56, so Ryan Grant comes back in on 3rd and a ton. To the 32-yard line, well short of the first down. Notre Dame will be forced to punt again, and there's number 25, Shazer. Steve Preston, number 15, is back to try it again. And Nicholas Seta knows how dangerous the return man is for Michigan. They only had to see him once in action. The Wolverines will be looking to hold up the Gunners to give Preston some breathing room. They go 2 apiece on the Gunners. They try to give Preston all the help they can. Here he comes now from the 18-yard line. Looks middle, got it again. Up the middle and brought down at the 43-yard line, or he might have blown it through to the end zone. Update from the Horseshoe. North Carolina State has just scored to make it 37-31. They still have an extra point.
Well, these kicks by Seta, although deep, are too deep and not high enough. The Notre Dame front are not getting downfield. Preston is having a full head of steam before anybody can even get near him.
Look for Michigan now to put it up and get deep. They put 4 wide receivers out on the left side of the formation. They think the offensive line can hold the rush. Here comes a flanker screen to Edwards. Edwards now gets a block, and he is to midfield, and the Irish have got to watch out here. Preston Jackson jumps in to make the stop.
Well, everyone was wondering if Michigan was hiding things in their first 2 games against Central Michigan and Houston, and it does look like they have. That time, they put Chris Perry out with the 3 wide receivers to give it a 4 wide receiver empty look. They're trying to keep this Notre Dame defense off balance, and it's working.
Second down and only a yard. What a great down on a play fake and throw it deep. Let's see what Navarre's got in mind here. Edwards will turn back now in the formation. They're going to run Perry for the first down to the 42-yard line. Let's check in on Seta with Jack Arute. Jack?
This is the first season that Nicholas Seta has taken over the punting chores as well as the kickoff chores for the Fighting Irish. He says he doesn't mind because it's not as violent on his leg, punting that is. I guess he hadn't met Preston yet.
Isn't that the truth? First down here for the Wolverines. They lead it by 7. They have the ball on the Irish 42. Incidentally, the Wolfpack kicked the extra point. Ohio State football, second overtime. Buckeyes need a touchdown on an extra point. They're down 38-31. Navarre with that deep drop. Stands tall. Got a man wide open. Carl Tabb. And Tabb is out of bounds at the 21-yard line. First down for Michigan. The Wolverines with 93 yards of offense here to only 7 for the Irish.
Very subtle. Watch John Navarre wait till the last second to throw this ball. Wait. He knows he's going to get hit. It's Courtney Watson. He goes and fires it and takes the hit. That's the subtleties that John Navarre brings. That's why the coaches and his teammates love him.
He's thrown for 53 yards, 21 on that pass play. Tabb that time the receiver. Perry comes back, has a huge hole. Slashes to the 15-yard line. Watson makes the stop again, and he picks up another 6 yards. So here already, the nation's leading rusher jumps out, and he has gained 45 yards on 10 carries.
Really like the way he skips through the hole. A lot of guys just stop their legs, look to bounce outside. A lot of coaching here on Chris Perry. Stay in the hole, run between the tackles unless the play is designed to go outside, and Perry's doing a great job of being patient with the play.
Timeout called by the Irish. That's their second already. Notre Dame uses up another timeout. Meanwhile, as you stick with us, because we do not have the entire network, I'll give you an idea of what's happening in the Horseshoe. It is first and goal now for Craig Krenzel. They are inside the 5-yard line. On a play fake, he throws touchdown back of the end zone. So they are now an extra point away from sending this into the 3rd overtime. North Carolina State and Ohio State in a Donnybrook over in Columbus, Ohio. The Buckeyes needing an extra point now.
Now, on the 3rd overtime, right, Brent, you have to go for 2s, correct?
Must go for 2.
Yes. So maybe that game might be over by dark if they have to start doing that.
It's possible.
You know, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that Michigan was looking ahead to this Notre Dame game. Everybody was worried. Central Michigan runs for 200-plus yards.
Timeout a second. The extra point is good, but North Carolina State jumped offside. Now, if they didn't blow the whistle, let's see whether they're going to spot this football. Russell wants the extra point. He declined it, so he will take the tie and move on to the 3rd overtime. I thought perhaps they'd take half the distance and go for the W right there, but he did not. He elects to send it on now to the third overtime. Phillip Rivers and North Carolina State will be coming out first. And here, John Navarre on a 2nd down and 4 brings the Wolverines up to the line of scrimmage. Perry is the tailback. Here he comes again, looking for daylight. How about the yards after contact? He was hit initially by Corey Mays, and he still was able to get back and beyond the line of scrimmage. He looks to be an outstanding running back this year.
Corey Mays of number 46 coming in for, I think it's Derek Curry or Brandon Hoyt on that play. They feel he could be special. Still has not gotten all of the assignments down, everything he needs to do in this defense, but physically they believe he could be a special linebacker, and athletically they need those type of guys on the field against Michigan. There's the matchup up there. Number 1 and number 34, Duff and Braylon Edwards.
But Navarre on a 3rd and 2 takes the conservative approach, and Perry slams for the first down to the 5-yard line. Not thinking pass at all that time, just making Perry stick his face mask in there, and now he has rushed for 55 yards here in the opening quarter. Scored his 5th touchdown of the season. Remember, this young man came in averaging 208 yards a game, the nation's leading rusher. And with Wisconsin being kept out of the end zone and upset by UNLV, you would have to think that Perry has a clean shot at taking a bigger lead on Anthony Davis here today. We'll check that a little bit later. I'm sure John Saunders will get you up to date on what Anthony did for the Badgers, who were upset. Here's the handoff to Perry. Spins now to the 2-yard line.
Kevin Dudley, number 32, is the Michigan fullback this year. Has not touched the ball in a pass or a run play, but he's like an extra lineman back there. With that offensive line, Pearson, Boz, Lentz, Stenovich, and Pape, to have Kevin Dudley leading a very powerful Chris Perry through the middle. Notre Dame has not been able to match up with that rush game yet.
Let's see if Dudley now can lead him to the end zone for a 2nd touchdown. 2nd down from right around the 2-yard line. They're going to throw on it. They're going to throw the fade for the corner. High jump. Edwards incomplete.
Oh, nice play by Duff. He waited and waited and waited, and then just poked the ball out of Edwards' hands without even seeing it. Watch, he never turns around. Edwards tries to catch the ball facing the quarterback, and then he waits, and just his right hand comes up and pops it. A better play by Braylon Edwards would be to fend off Duff and catch it over his outside shoulder. Edwards did not grab one. Duff right on the play.
I thought Edwards should have made the catch myself, but nevertheless, it gets away in the corner of the end zone, and it's 7-0, and now we've got a timeout from the Wolverines with a 3rd down coming up here, Gary.
Well, 3rd and short before from the 30 they threw, and now 3rd and goal from about the 2 or 3. You wonder, as easily as they ran for that touchdown last time, if they're just going to give it to Chris Perry and take 2 shots at it or not. A lot of options for Michigan.
Well, here they are prior to 3rd and 2, and worth one more look now at Edwards. He goes to the corner. Navarre floats it, and just take a look at this.
See Duff's right hand come up there right as the ball comes in, and his right hand comes in at the same time. From the back, it looks like it's in the shoulder. From the front, it looks like it's the back of his hand.
3rd down and 2 for the Wolverines. Edwards split out to the left.
He's got him. Duff's got him.
They're looking running back and nothing doing. Now it's 4th down. And so you go back to the decision to throw against Vontez Duff in the first place as Glenn Earl makes that stop. Now you would think he'll go for the field goal here, and he will, as again Adam Finley, who kicked the extra point. We had been told earlier this week that Garrett Rivas, and perhaps he injured himself in the pregame warm-ups.
Let's make sure we get these numbers. So
Finley is on the field. Meanwhile, the Buckeyes have not scored in the third overtime so far. So they're still tied with North Carolina State at 38. And here in the Big House, the first quarter comes to an end. A look down at a sensational scene.
It was you wonder on second down the way they were able to run the ball so easily.
Yeah, if we had a second guess, Gary, it would be on the decision to begin with.
Yeah, it was good execution. Actually, everybody did a pretty good job. Could Braylon have easily caught this ball if he went up with his hands? Watch Duff's right hand come up. Does he jar it? Does the ball hit him first? Does he push it? Could have bounced off his shoulder.
Yeah, no, I thought it came off the shoulder pad. So we've come to the end of the first quarter. Michigan leading Notre Dame. And again, to go back on the decision, and let's follow up on Gary's point because I think it's a good one. The way Perry was running, and in that quarter he rushed 14 times for 58 yards. You know, he's on pace for 200 yards against a team that's supposed to be extremely stout in the front seven. When you look at the numbers here, Michigan, 112 yards of offense to only 7 for Notre Dame. And I imagine if Lloyd had it to do all over again, you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Here's what I was thinking. If you pass on second, you almost figure they're going to run on third and fourth, give it 2 more tries. Because you have 2 shots at it on second and third. I thought the pass on second down signaled they were going to go for it on fourth, but he decided not to.
Ohio State just scored on a Craig Krenzel pass to the end zone. They are in the third overtime against North Carolina State. So it is 44-38. Adam Finley now at the other end to attempt the field goal. It's a 19-yarder, and there's a flag, and the whistle blew prior to the snap.
Real injury. It looked like Michigan's left tackle moved and flinched on the play.
So Michael Jenkins.
Prior to the snap, false start offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Now remember, Ohio State in this situation must go for 2 in the third overtime. So they are up 6, 44-38. Michael Jenkins caught the touchdown pass from Craig Krenzel. The field goal here will now be 24 yards. The 2-point conversion is no good. The field goal here, though, is good, as you can see. Man, this is fun. I had so much fun.
Do we get 2 checks or what?
It's 10-0 on the Finley field goal. And now North Carolina State needs a touchdown to tie it. And with the 2-point conversion, they can upset the Buckeyes. If not, they'll go on to a 4th overtime.
Well, Notre Dame better hurry up and hope they're not watching the other game, because if Notre Dame lets this one get out of hand, they pulled a rabbit out of their hat last week against Washington State. But if they stick their hand in that hat this week, they might find a snake against Michigan, because Michigan won't let them get off the turf.
We get word from Jack down below that Adam Finley beat out Garrett Revis in the final kicking competition between the two. And so Finley now with a 24-yard field goal. He's the man here today, and an extra point, so he has 4 of the Wolverines points up there. And again, to update you, I know some of you here who were switched away are very interested. Well, all Michigan fans are interested, and aren't they pulling for the Wolfpack? A true Michigan fan. But the Buckeyes lead at 44-38. Phillip Rivers, the All-American candidate for North Carolina State, has just completed the ball inside the 20-yard line. Remember, in overtime in the college, they start from the 25. This kick is going to be fielded back on the 5-yard line by Vontez Duff, and he brings it out to the 29-yard line. Carlisle Holiday will put it in play there with the Irish down 10 here.
Brent, this is a West Coast offense that Ty Willingham has brought. Now, Carlisle Holiday, maybe he doesn't have all the attributes to run the West Coast offense, but it doesn't work unless you run it. And right now, Michigan doesn't believe they're going to throw the ball to their wide receivers, and they're just got their linebackers and their safeties in between the hashes and daring Notre Dame to throw the ball wide, and so far they won't do it.
Jones is in as the running back. The Big House alive and rocking today. Jones right side hole to the 45-yard line. 15 yards for Julius Jones.
Boy, nice block by that Notre Dame line. They pulled the guard, kicked out, and it was an easy hold to run in. Watch right here to the inside of the line. I think it's wrapping around Lavore, number 73, and there's Jones into the secondary. Spread them out. 3 wide receivers, force Michigan to defend the whole field. They must. Notre Dame must do it, and they do it again.
Ryan Grant, now the running back. Tries to get to the corner, stretched out beautifully by Pierre Woods, the outside linebacker from Cleveland, Ohio, number 99. An outstanding job. 14 minutes left here in the opening half. North Carolina State down 6 to Ohio State in the 3rd overtime over in Columbus. Total yards here very lopsided, as you can see, all Wolverine. There's a 1st and 10 for North Carolina State. And here, a 2nd down for Notre Dame. Here comes Grant. Gets to the corner, to the edge for a 1st down before Marlon Jackson shoves him out of bounds on that side.
Michigan defense trying to force that Notre Dame running backs to run between the tackles. They're loading up there, and all of a sudden Notre Dame says we'll try to find ways to run the ball off the edge. Now if they can throw the ball off the edge, they'll have Michigan's defense on their heels a bit.
First down and 10. The ball is at the 42-yard line. The Irish trying to mount a drive to get right back in this game. Down 10 points. They'll slide up to the right. And Holiday, I believe, has just used their last timeout of this half. That is their 3rd timeout, so they exhaust them with 13.5 minutes to go. And certainly the coaching staff would have preferred at least one being saved here, Gary.
A lot of confusion there. Both wide receivers were trying to get back to Carlisle Holiday to get the call. He sensed it. I think the drive is important enough to take the timeout in the 1st half. They need to get points in this drive.
13:39 to go. Again, if you just joined us, 112 yards of offense for Michigan and 10 points, 35 for the Irish and no points. Meanwhile, a face mask penalty against Ohio State has given North Carolina State a 1st and 5. The Wolfpack trailing the Buckeyes in the 3rd overtime by 6 points. You must go for 2 points after a touchdown in the 3rd overtime.
Take a look, both wide receivers as they break the huddle right here. A little confusion. They kind of, what's going on? Turning back, you see Carlisle takes a timeout. Their 3rd one, as you mentioned, of the half. But at least they're moving the ball for Notre Dame. That has to make them feel good about something, because so far since the early turnover by the Navarre on the sack, it has been all Michigan.
Pass interference against Ohio State, back-to-back penalties. So it will be a 1st down coming up for North Carolina State in the 3rd overtime in that game. Was holding on Fox, the corner. And here, the draw play. Grant is stuffed by that stout Michigan D, Larry Stevens of Tacoma, Washington, in on the stop.
Just appears that so far in this game, Jimmy Herman and the Michigan defense has the Notre Dame offense down when they keep 2 backs, I formation. They've been able to defend every running play. When they spread them out and run the off tackle or the zone plays from 1 back, they've been very successful. And they come back to 1 back.
1st down and goal. Here is Julius Jones as the 1 back for the Irish. There's that short drop. Not one-on-one. High and intercepted at the 20-yard line. Picked off by Marcus Curry, number 30. So the move of Jackson certainly has not hurt the Wolverines here in the early going, as Curry comes up with that interception.
Very poor throw from Carlisle Holiday. He's got a 6'5" receiver. He's got him walled off to the outside. The ball is thrown way inside on the play. Almost a gimme interception for Curry. His ball was thrown about 6 yards too far to the inside of the field.
Meanwhile, after an incompletion, 2nd down and goal. Rivers is in trouble from the rush and throws high and incomplete. Gamble, and I believe another flag. Judging from Gamble's reaction, they may be looking at another penalty here. So far, no indication as Perry slashes behind the right side.
Well, we saw Chris Perry have a good football game against Ohio State in the last game last year down in the shoe. He looks like he's put some work into the offseason. It's no surprise that this guy is putting yards behind an offensive line that's committed to running the ball and a running back who's committed to running the ball.
They ruled that the ball was not catchable, so it is 3rd and goal for North Carolina State. They flood the left side of the formation. Here is 2nd down, Michigan. Edwards turns back on the formation, and it's going to be 4th down coming up for North Carolina State at that one, as Perry is stopped short of the 1st down here.
Same blitz that worked for a sack earlier in the game. Courtney Watson coming inside on the motion. This time Michigan dials a run play right into the teeth of it, and it's successful.
Chuck Amato just called a timeout for North Carolina State, because it could be down to the last play of the game. It'll be 4th down coming up from about the Buckeyes' 3-yard line. We'll keep you up to date. A 6-point difference in that one. Ohio State having scored a touchdown in the 3rd overtime. Here, quarterback sneak from the bar, moves the chains to the 30-yard line. So it'll be 1st down.
Interesting fact about John Navarre, he weighs less now than he did coming out of high school. He was recruited as a defensive end. He was recruited as a linebacker. He was recruited as a tight end. Michigan was really the only school in Northwestern, were the only 2 schools that recruited him as a quarterback.
Part of the great scene here at Michigan is the Michigan marching band. 1st down and 10. Navarre puts Edwards in motion again through the formation. What a great job by the offensive line. Receivers were covered, so Navarre makes the motion and then picks up a couple of yards.
Well, that time Michigan kind of gambled. They expected the blitz from Notre Dame and only send out 2 people. 2 people that time. And you'll see Notre Dame plays 3-on-2 on it. There's no one to throw to. A 2-man route, 3 people backing it up. Notre Dame had the advantage.
Second down. David Underwood, now the running back for Michigan. Navarre gets time again, got middle. Edwards on the juggles, got it, 1st down in Irish territory at the 36. So now you watch that picture. I'll tell you about 4th and goal. Phillip Rivers of North Carolina State coming up under center now to hide the defense, and the Buckeyes will attempt to freeze the play. They took one look at it and called a timeout, Gary.
Inside, Jason Beckstrom, who they thought Notre Dame thought might be hurt, and you see the wonderful play by Braylon Edwards. No doubt about this guy's ability. He's a Sunday ball player. Everyone knows that around here, and I think Lloyd Carr's done a great job of bringing him along in the Michigan program. He is special, and he will continue to be.
31 yards the gain. Navarre, beautiful fake all day. Fires to a wide open Anthony Abant. Abant out of bounds at the 5-yard line. 1st and goal, and the Wolverines are in business again after the 31-yard strike by Navarre, who set it up with a beautiful ball fake.
And right off the same play they used before. Usually both guys go this way, but this time this guy goes backwards. Notre Dame does not see it. They expected the double post. One of the things that Notre Dame really practiced against Michigan, tendency to go double post. They come back with the flag route off the post. Beautiful play.
Perry is the running back for the Wolverines. Stretch to Perry. Won't get the job done. It'll be 2nd down and goal. Kind of a slow developing play that time, and the Irish defense had ganged up on the left side of the D, and now Anthony Abant brings the play back into the sideline. Meanwhile, while he does that, let me take you back to the horseshoe. The ball at about the 1.5-yard line. 4th and goal, the 3rd overtime. North Carolina State needing a touchdown, then they will have to go for 2. Phillip Rivers comes up under center, and now they quickly shift to 4 outside. Here's the toss play. McClendon reaches for the end zone. Did they give it to him? No signal yet. Do they rule his knees are down? There was no signal. The officials are huddling. There's the linesman. There's the umpire right at the goal line. And the Buckeyes are celebrating. No touchdown. Inches short of the goal line. And in a third overtime, Ohio State beats a very game North Carolina State. And Amato looks like he's headed out to give one of the Zebras an earful. So meanwhile here now the Wolverines, we'll see what they can do with this one.
Now 3rd and goal from the 5.
3rd and goal at the 5-yard line.
Lloyd is working the official. He thought there was a push on the fade pass.
A look at the replay indicates it was a good call at Ohio State. McClendon was clearly down. The officials made a good call here. Navarre under pressure fires. Touchdown! He hits his running back, Chris Perry, who now has run for a touchdown and caught a pass for a second. What a day Perry is having. And folks, you get the Heisman Trophy charts out because number 3 is about to make an impression with a whole lot of voters.
Nice job by John Navarre that time. His eyes started out left, too much traffic. He drifted back to the right side of the formation and found Perry.
Finley tacks on the extra point. And now,
watch John Navarre, excuse me, Brent, watch John Navarre on this play. Start out left and then go right. Perry's going to come out and get right into the middle of the formation. Navarre looks left, nothing there. Comes back to his check down. Little action at his feet and just throws it off balance. Beautiful play by the quarterback.
Sideline, and we get ready for the rest of the ABC television network to join us after they watched that triple overtime win for Ohio State. Greetings, everyone. 9 minutes left in the first half. Michigan all over Notre Dame. 17-0, having just scored their second touchdown. And the kick is down to the end zone, so the Fighting Irish will bring it out now. This, of course, is the BCS Spotlight game presented by ADT. You look down on the beautiful site here, and our Pacific Life game summary of what occurred. Young Preston, a wide receiver, with a big hole on a punt return for Michigan, set up their first touchdown with a 55-yard run. The nation's leading rusher, Chris Perry, pounded in for the first score, then running a pass pattern and catching a pass for the second. Perry has rushed 17 times for 67 yards. He's caught 2 passes for 19. Now the heat squarely on Carlisle Holiday and Notre Dame. They are down 17-0. Julius Jones going nowhere against the stout Michigan defense. Well, Carlisle Holiday. Let's meet the Notre Dame quarterback.
My name is Carlisle Holiday, and this is my second year of running the West Coast offense for Notre Dame.
And he has struggled a bit with that West Coast offense here so far today, too. He has thrown 1 interception in this game. They've had excellent field position a couple of times, and Holiday and the Irish unable to take advantage of it. Michigan fumbled on its first possession, but the drive stalled out. Then he threw the interception when they were in Michigan territory again. Here's number 22, Jones, on a stretch handoff, and he is hit hard by Marlon Jackson, the new free safety this year. Last year's corner. We take a look at the Outback Steakhouse starting lineups. And for that offensive line, the ringleader, Sean Milligan, is over at right guard. And there we see the power players in front of these 2 running backs. And we have seen both Power and Grace. Grant a little bit more of a straight ahead runner, and Jones a little niftier. But now it looks like Jackson stung his shoulder a little bit on that hit. So he'll come to the sideline, and Jacob Stewart, number 28, the training staff tending to the All-American candidate. 3rd down, Here is Stewart in that defensive backfield.
More confusion. People going the wrong way, looking at the quarterback.
Play fake Holiday. Throws way high and incomplete. There's a penalty flag down.
Notre Dame's having a tough time breaking the huddle so far in this half.
So the Michigan defense looks like this, and they have been stout. Pat Massey's daddy, incidentally, was recruited by Eric Parsegan and played with the Fighting Irish. Carl Diggs, back for Michigan, an outstanding inside linebacker. And of course, we've told you about the key story here with this defensive backfield. They've moved Jackson from the corner to free safety. LeSueur and Curry, outstanding corners that allowed them to make the move and put their 4 best athletes on the field. Jackson being tended to after that stinger. Curry, incidentally, had the interception.
Wait, key 3rd and short, and Notre Dame has a misalignment in their formation. 2 people moving at the same time to really hand it over to Michigan. Another mistake.
And Preston is back to see if he can do it again. An electrifying return man, wide receiver from Michigan. We have seen in the first half why the Wolverines were installed as a double-digit favorite in this one.
Another low kick.
Here comes the young man again. Got a hole, and he is to the 46-yard line. So we'll take a break. So far, it is all Wolverines in the big house on a beautiful day in Michigan. Well, let's meet the veteran Michigan quarterback.
I am John Navarre, and for the Michigan offense to be successful, I have to do my job and do what I'm coached.
He has done his job, and he has done what he has coached here today. He is 7 of 10 for 120 yards and a touchdown. He's also rushed for 6 yards and 3 carries, not known as a runner. Here's the handoff now to Perry, the nation's leading rusher. He pounces off a tackle. He's a jitterbug. He just never stops out there. And let's take a look at the Outback Steakhouse starting lineup now for the Wolverines. A reloaded offensive line, and so far they have been impressive. They've kept the front absolutely clean for John Navarre. Chris Perry, of course, the nation's leading rusher, averaging better than 200 yards a carry and making a Heisman statement so far in the first half here today. Navarre's offense breaks the huddle now, and he checks with Perry, who's set directly behind him. Number 88, Tim Massacoy, a future fine tight end. He's to the right side of the Wolverine formation. Edwards comes to the left now. Navarre looks left, comes to Edwards at midfield. This is short of a first down, so it will be 3rd down in a running situation as we check this Notre Dame defense here. Cedric Hilliard, big and fast, number 50. He started the game today, has been in and out as they have rotated 7 defensive linemen. Courtney Watson, after being suspended from last week's Washington State game, has returned, starting Vontez Duff, who's had a duel all day with Edwards, number 1. It's been a dandy. 3rd down now, and Carl Tabb, number 17, splits out to the right. Edwards down to the left. Vontez shows bump and run on him. Watson goes over to the left side of the defense, and Navarre wants to change up. After he sees where 33 is, now he'll call a timeout.
Timeout!
ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Nissan and your Nissan dealer. Aflac, ask about it at work. Coca-Cola, let's make it real. And Miller High Life, to live simply, proudly, boldly, manly. This is the High Life. That eagle was erected back in 1945, southwest corner of the stadium. Commemorates those who gave their lives for the United States in World War II. Here, the big house alive. This Michigan team, of course, has been ballyhooed across the land. One of the candidates for the Nokia Sugar Bowl, ranked 5th or 7th, I guess, depending on which poll you listen the most to. Anthony Avant goes in motion. Navarre on a 3rd down, fires for the first down. Got it. Got his big tight end as Timmy Massacoy across the 30-yard line. It'll be 1st down, and the coaches are extremely high on him, Gary.
Well, Massacoy came to Michigan as a wide receiver. See right here, he's matched up to the safety right on him. No help back here in the backside. He goes one-on-one. John Navarre makes the perfect read. That's about as easy as you can get. 15 yards of grass in front of your tight end. And everyone knows around here that's watched Michigan football, when they get the tight end involved in the offense, it really starts to roll.
That's 145 yards passing for Navarre so far. He's going to put it up on first down. He's got great time. Middle end zone. Edwards high and complete. Got a hand on it. Covered by Vontez Duff. Well, folks, this week's Aflac trivia question is, who was the last Michigan running back to lead the nation in rushing? We thought it appropriate because Perry leads right now. Is it the great, legendary Tom Harmon? How about Tyrone Wheatley? How about Timmy Biaka-Batuka? Or the A-Train, Anthony Thomas, the last Michigan running back to lead the nation in rushing? That's what number 23 does right now. Second down and 10 now. Navarre and the Wolverines break the huddle. Perry is standing on the 35-yard line. He already has rushed for 68 yards here in the first half. Navarre going to set the screen. Juggled off Perry. Not a well-thrown ball that time.
He had to get rid of it early. He had Courtney Watson right at his face.
Let's check in. You know, Jackaroo, we've got a brand new surface here in Ann Arbor, and it looks beautiful from up here.
Yeah, but Brent, you don't need to mow it because it's that natural turf, that field turf that we first saw introduced at Nebraska. It's the first time that Michigan's had it here in the stadium. First artificial turf since the early 90s. Now, Notre Dame has the same turf in their practice facility indoors, but they've never played on it since Nebraska back in 2001.
And that was a nightmare for the Irish. Bob Davie was then the coach. That was a night game, and Cornhuskers jump all over him. Navarre uses a timeout as he comes to the line of scrimmage, spots the defense. He'll come over to Lloyd Carr's sideline, and the Wolverines will talk about it. Timeout.
The Michigan Stadium Written Program now placed on well over 20.
Well, here's today's Singular Wireless poll. Which upset last week was the most shocking to you? Log on to ESPN.com, keyword singular. Make your vote, and we'll update you with poll results in the second half. Georgia Tech, Bowling Green, Wake Forest, Boston College. Gary, who would you vote for?
I'm not going to vote for Purdue. I'll tell you that right now. But they came back this week, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Go Boilermakers. You still ducked the question.
I guess I was shocked by Wake Forest beating NC State.
There you go. Third down now. Navarre throwing high. Oh, what a grab by Perry. Can he get the first down? Put his helmet down and went and got it. Oh, my. What a play by number 23. Where's Michael Jordan's number? And he looked like Jordan that time. 11 yards on 3rd and 10. Look at him grab the rock and go to work here.
He's the leading rusher in the country, but yet on 3rd and long, Michigan gets 2 backs in the game. Navarre throws the ball a little wildly, a little high, but he's bailed out. As good as Braylon Edwards on that catch, a one-hander for a first down.
Speaking of that, he and Braylon have a good duel as to who the best receiver is on this Michigan team. Perry will keep that highlight and say, come look at this, bro. Come and look at this over and over again. Here comes Perry dancing, and he gets to the 11-yard line. Well, you know, we asked Chris Perry about catching the football, and here's what he told us.
I love catching the ball. I always brag that I have the best hands on the team. You know, Braylon and I have a little bit of a competition about who has the best hands. So it's real nice.
You think you got better hands with Braylon?
Oh yeah, definitely.
No shortage.
He didn't even blink, did he?
Well, you know what? And our guy Braylon could have had a touchdown down the corner of the end zone, one off the pad.
Braylon's got one-hander too, almost up the middle for that square end. So they both got one today.
Second down now. It's 7 yards. The Perry story is a wonderful story about a young man who grows up and develops into this kind of a running back. As the ball came free, it will be a question
be a huge
whether or not
Notre Dame.
It's recovered by the Wolverine. The Irish are, of course, pointing that they've got it, and the officiating crew now coming out of there seems to indicate, yes, it is Notre Dame football.
Well, a touchdown almost puts this football game away. A field goal makes it very tough. A turnover keeps them in the game, and that's what they got.
Luck or the residue of design. Take your choice, but the Irish stay alive. Here's the replay, and it looks, Gary, like the helmet catches the ball just right to jar it loose.
I think it was Preston Jackson, number 15. The ball clicks once right there, just a little bit as he hits him right there. And then an instant later, It's down on the bottom of the pile right there. Clearly a good call. I don't know who ended up with it, but I know it was a fumble.
Carlisle Holiday completed his first pass for 1 yard, and he's 0 for his last 4. And included in that,
Number 13.
The interception as the power running out to the 8-yard line with Jones. You know, earlier we asked you, who was the last Michigan running back to lead the nation in rushing? The great Tom Harmon, Wheatley, Biakabatuka, the A-Train. How many of you got it? The last Michigan running back. Folks, we couldn't let the season pass without a trick question. It was Gary Danielson's idea.
Not me.
I said, you shouldn't do this.
That's, you know why? Throwing those guys used to run about 12 backs in here all the time.
And so maybe Perry, who knows, maybe he can become the first. Lloyd Carr not happy about that turnover, but in fairness, it looked like it was a pretty good wallop, the point of the ball. And that time, Michigan returns the favor with Gabe Watson, number 78. What a future he has.
Yes, he does. Little different mold than the normal Michigan defensive lineman. 300-plus pounds right there. One of the pro NFL linemen. Pushes the middle, comes off, makes the tackle like that. He's got a big future here in Michigan. One of those plus 300-pounders that could play any level.
Billy Palmer, the tight end to the right side of the Irish formation. They're going to go double tight now on 3rd and 8. Ryan Grant is back in as the running back. Michigan changes its defense. They come on the blitz. Incomplete, and it is 4th down. Well, here's the Nissan drive summary, and let's take you back to the first 5 possessions of this football game. Most of you were not with us. You were watching the Ohio State victory in overtime, but you can see how it's punt, 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 interception, punt. So it has been Michigan domination by their defense here.
And Seta has been getting the ball out in decent distance, but they've all been line drive. Breaston has been picking it on the run and just getting 10 yards before anyone's near him.
So Breaston standing at midfield. Driven back to the 45. He's going to try to go wide right. Stretched out. Not much doing that time.
He's a special athlete, Preston, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Man, it takes your breath away.
He does. Reminds me of Anthony Carter, really.
Going to have to get him into the pass offense before long here, you would think. 17-0 and timeout at the Big House. Aerial coverage for today's game, courtesy of the Outback Steakhouse Airship Bloomin' Onion 1. The Outback Steakhouse Airship specializes in college football and PGA golf coverage. Look for the Bloomin' Onion at sporting events throughout 2003. Well, John Navarre. Excellent field position here. Inside midfield. And Perry comes back after the fumble. Picks up another yard. Of course, a reminder coming up on the Valvoline halftime show. John and Terry, they will relive that hectic triple overtime victory by the defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes over North Carolina State. They'll tell you about our primetime games tonight. Penn State, Nebraska, Illinois, UCLA, Georgia Tech at Florida State. That's coming up on the Valvoline halftime show here on ABC. 2nd down now, and Navarre fires sideline in. Complete. Anthony Avant was working down the sideline, and Massacoy had curled out toward that spot.
Yeah,
so they was really clogged up over there.
He had the matchup he wanted. Massacoy against the middle linebacker that time, Courtney Watson. I don't know if it was slightly behind or Massacoy cut off his route, but it was it should have been an easy pitch and catch, and it wasn't.
So Big John Navarre moving up the record books now. He has tied the all-time Michigan record for the most passing yards by a quarterback. One more completion here, and he'll have it to himself. Looking for it right now. Got it. Put it into the hands of the wide man over there, Jason Avant, who spins inside the 40-yard line, and your all-time pass yardage leader here at Michigan now is number 16, John Navarre, who despite all the criticism is 23-8. As a starting quarterback here at Michigan, and has thrown lifetime 52 touchdown passes, trailing only Elvis Gerbach's 71.
Looks like Lloyd Carr does not want to take a chance and get Notre Dame back in this football game.
Well, you know, we talked the other day Lloyd and I had a conversation about the Thursday night game on ESPN. It was a dandy between California and Utah. Two very appealing young coaches. The flag is thrown over there. And we all agreed that if Jeff Tedford of California had to do all over again, he would punt rather than attempt that field goal, because you don't want to give up field position. And I'm sure Lloyd is thinking exactly that here.
Well, there's no way now. Up 17-0. He says, why make a mistake here on the 40-yard line and let Notre Dame go get 3 points or something? Setta's a great field goal kicker. So he said, let's punt it down there. 17-0 at half is a good half for the way we played, especially with no timeouts. That proved to be huge.
Montez Duff would like to light the fire here for the Irish. He's another excellent return man.
It's gone now.
Not good. Punt. And let's see if Notre Dame can do anything about it. They've only had 44 yards of offense. There's only one passing yard for Notre Dame, as you see that prime time lineup I mentioned. Penn State, Nebraska, Georgia Tech, Florida State, Illinois, UCLA. Folks, it doesn't get any bigger than this one for Joe Paterno and Penn State tonight in Nebraska. They beat up on the Cornhuskers in Happy Valley a year ago, 47. The Cornhuskers have been dreaming payback ever since. They've got a young Penn State team at risk in that game here tonight. That one could get ugly unless Penn State sticks right with them in the early going and does not make mistakes like they did early against Boston College a week ago. Critical in Lincoln tonight. Ryan Grant pounds it out now to the 33-yard line here for Notre Dame. 1:11 to go, Gary, and they got to try to get the ball down the field and get something going.
Well, at least the field goal. I would be a little bit nervous if I was coaching Carlisle Holiday with his lack of experience. He did well in the shotgun formation last week against Washington State. Let's see if he can take them down.
Bad snap, shotgun, reaches down, got it, throws
make.
for the sideline, and Rima incomplete. Waved off, he was out of bounds. I thought for a moment that he was able to keep his feet in bounds.
And the one thing that you don't want to do if you're Notre Dame is punt again. So I would assume here on 3rd and medium they will run the ball, and if they have to, they can take enough clock off maybe to not have to punt again this half. You want to give that ball to that guy again?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
3rd down, 51 seconds now. They need the 5, and it's a healthy 5.
Kind of draw will they run?
Here comes Jones, stretches the D, now cuts.
Out
of bounds, stops the clock with 45 seconds to go. This program reminder now, the LA Sparks, a winner in game 1 against the Detroit Shock. And the finals game 2 at 4 Eastern tomorrow on ABC. Detroit and Bill Laimbeer forced to come up with a win to stay alive in that one. Now there you see how the Irish have struggled, not just here, but last week, of course, against Washington State before they began the comeback.
Setta has to angle this punt.
Steve Breston, bad snap, has to rush it. On the bounce, though, and Breston's going to let it roll dead. Maybe that's the way to punt it to him.
That doesn't look bad to me.
So it's the top of the hour, 5 Eastern time. We hope you're enjoying college football on ABC today. A dandy triple overtime. Ohio State and North Carolina State. Texas stunned by Arkansas down in the Southwest. And, of course, here, Michigan has jumped all over Notre Dame. 248 yards of offense for the Wolverines, only 52 for the Irish.
It was a pretty 1-yard pass, though, I thought.
He is 1 of 7 on that pretty pass that Gary told you about.
Pretty 1-yarder.
Michigan going to run the clock out, and that'll put Jackaroon on the run to get us an interview here. And Ty Willingham checking with how the timing is going to go in this situation with Michigan going to take that 17-point margin on into the locker room here. So even though the Wolverines turned it over 2 times, didn't hurt them. Let's get on to Jack quickly.
Well, Coach, outside of the 1 turnover, things haven't been too bad this half.
Well, we've played great intensity. We've established the running game and hit some big passes.
Do you remind these guys about the Washington State game 1 week ago that Notre Dame played?
Well, we just want to play Michigan football for 30 more minutes, Jack.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Now, Lloyd Carr has done an outstanding job here with the program. Right now, let's send you to New York, Times Square Stadium. John and Terry, take it away, John. Pitching a shutout here in the big house over arch rival Notre Dame, and our Pacific Life game summary stats, Gary, simply backs up that score.
Well, when you look at the stats, it could have been a lot worse. I mean, 17 points, I believe, is about the least Michigan could have got the way they dominated the first half of this game.
Both touchdowns scored by Chris Perry. The first, he dove in. The second, he came free on a little curl pass pattern out of the backfield. Those, the Wolverines, 2 touchdowns. Back with the second half in a moment.
ABC Sports welcomes you back to this week's BCS Spotlight game presented by ADT.
Well, Gary, the Irish find themselves down 17. They were down 19 in South Bend a week ago. Can they keep coming back?
Well, I don't know. Not with the game plan you're currently employing in this game. I think they need to spread them out. I think Carlisle Holiday feels comfortable in shotgun. And if he can't do it, put in another quarterback. They've got to get Stovall and Jenkins and McKnight into this football game. They need those weapons. As well as Michigan can run the ball, Brent, they're still using their other weapons. That's what Notre Dame needs to do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the Irish will get the first crack at it here to start the second half as they deferred. And Montez Duff back deep for the Irish. And we'll see if they can get something going here. They were held to 52 yards of offense, 1 passing yard in the first half. And Montez hesitates, now double thinks it, now comes out, bad decision. A mental mistake opens up the second half. And Jack, what did Coach Willingham have to say? He certainly had to be unhappy about that first half, partner.
Well, Brent, Coach Willingham believes in positive coaching, so he really accented on, look, guys, we've been here before, referencing last week. He says we've got to play with poise, we've got to play with patience. We can't get all the points back all at once. He also said to me, Jack, and the most important thing, we got to get some points on the board.
Well, Jim Herman's defense doing an awesome job along that front for the Wolverines. As you watch this game, Notre Dame's blocking is going to have to improve against that front. Now here comes Grant down at the 5-yard line. But folks, there was one thing that stood out in the first half. You talk about an out of whack stat. Whoa.
Well, if you're going to play Michigan and you come into the big house and you can only throw for 1 yard, that's what it sounds like. Because Notre Dame comes into the big house, everyone is able to throw the ball on Michigan. Come on, Notre Dame, tee it up, go for it.
They are indeed in the twilight zone with this passing game so far. Second down at 15 after the sharp tackle by Reed. Wolverines show pressure, and here they come. They blitz the run that time, and it'll be 3rd and long for this Notre Dame offense, and Carl Diggs making the stop. The big change with the Michigan defense is the fact that Jim Herman, the longtime defensive coordinator for Lloyd Carr, has moved upstairs to the booth. Here he is. Now, many of you remember Jimmy down on the sideline, but now he's got the graduate assistant and a linebacker coach, a former player here, and that, of course, Steve Morrison. He signals the play in.
Former NFLer, All-American here at Michigan, too, as a grad assistant.
3rd down. Roll end zone. Gets rid of it as he's being hit in the end zone. That was Larry Stevens, the junior from Tacoma, Washington.
I don't know if Notre Dame can do this. Michigan's defense is better. 3rd and long, and Notre Dame only sends out 1-2 receivers. Watch this. Look at Michigan's got 7 guys back. Notre Dame sends out 2. How are you going to complete a pass against that?
Now Sept backed up, and remember, the return man, Steve Bruston. The young sensation. Set up touchdown number 1. Ready to set sail again. Standing on the right hash. Set will try to punt it away from him. And as a result, it's a very bad punt. Out of bounds because he did not want to put it in Preston's hands. But still, Michigan will attack from the 36-yard line. And Ty Willingham's offense has just been unable to do anything, and as a result, 3 and out, forced a punt.
It was first, second, third down in this play, and this is the last one. Carlisle Holiday rolls out right into Larry Stevens. Instead of getting the safety, he has to throw the ball away basically as Pierre Woods and Larry Stevens are all over him.
Dudley is the lead fullback now for Perry. Perry will follow him. Sidestep. Daylight comes through. Maintains his balance. Still coming. Explodes inside the 10-yard line. And he begins to jump up the Heisman Trophy charts as he plays his biggest game of the year. Vontez Duff making the touchdown, saving tackle, ball inside the 10-yard line.
This has to be shocking to Notre Dame fans. This is a defense that had 8 starters returning. This is a defense that only allowed 2.8 yards per carry last year, and Michigan is doing whatever they want. Whether they want to throw it or run it, Michigan is taking right to this Notre Dame defense.
He's only the second running back in the history of the game to ever pass 500 yards in his first 3 games in the season. Number 23. Perry on a stretch, slash, going in zone, looking, third touchdown, got it! 3 touchdowns for number 23, and what a remarkable story he is, ladies and gentlemen. He was in Lloyd Carr's doghouse, so deeply inside it that a couple of years ago, Carr called him in and said, young man, you should transfer. We are just not on the same wavelength. But
a bit of a zone play right here, Brent, and this offensive line, you pull a guard around, make the play, straight arm. You see it, Chris Perry, fast, powerful, motivated, with a good offense with him.
Finley adds the extra point. We'll pick back up on the story, the remarkable story of Chris Perry. Why did he stay after Lloyd Carr told him point blank, you should transfer? But he didn't, and now he's the star of this Wolverine team. Timeout. Told Chris to transfer, his mother, Irene Perry, flew in. Lloyd Carr was convinced she was going to pull him out of school, but instead she came to the coach's office and said, I'm behind you 100% if you take care of my son. She then went to Chris and said, Chris, if you leave Michigan, you're a quitter. Don't quit. She's a published novelist, a single mother. She returned to the family home in Virginia, and the rest, as you say, has been history being made by Chris Perry, who has stepped up big time, learned how to block, learned how to protect his quarterback, run pass patterns, and certainly is one of the best young running backs in the nation today.
How about one more last attaboy here for Kevin Dudley? He's not going to carry the ball in this game, but number 32 kicks out on the linebacker that time. I think it's Brandon Hoyt, number 39. That's really what springs him. Good seal-off block inside by Kevin Dudley, and that springs it. Boy, it's nice to have those guys. Doesn't get that turns himself into the team the way that Kevin Dudley has.
Paved the way on the Chevy drive somewhere. His drive block led the way. And Perry scores his 3rd touchdown of the game. And now the Irish under enormous pressure. Down 24. Holiday rolling left, throwing complete to Omar Jenkins. Bottom of the hour here. Notre Dame coming in a big underdog, and Michigan showing exactly why. One of the best teams that we have seen this year, these Wolverines. I know that everybody said they'd beaten up on 2 cream puffs, and they'd have to prove it against a stout Notre Dame team. Well, they have certainly proven it so far here today against Willingham and the Irish. They're up by 24, and they have dominated. They've held this Notre Dame team to 51 yards of offense and put 284 up themselves. First down on the pass to McKnight at about the 35-yard line. Gary, let's talk about the big change with the Michigan defense. I know that you have some doubts about Marlon Jackson being switched to safety.
I do. And the reason I do is because you just wonder, Michigan had such great success with Charles Woodson as a corner. They won the national championship with this type of guy at corner. Seems to me it's a bit of a gamble. If it's a gamble that can work, if Marlon Jackson gets more involved like a Michael Doss last year, it will be great. But I would attack the corners to Michigan and see how good they are.
Movement and flags come flying.
So far, Brent, excuse me, Notre Dame just doesn't have.
False start offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Either the ability or the confidence to try to go at those corners to at least test if these guys are good enough.
It's a little bit. I think the Notre Dame side of this is, Gary, you know, the square peg, round hole kind of thing.
Right.
Because you're taking a kind of a quarterback who was a wonderful, wonderful runner out of San Antonio.
Not his fault, right?
We know that Nebraska wanted him to come run the option. Ty Willingham takes over and puts in the West Coast. And he just, in watching him, he's just not comfortable. Here he is back on a one-hop pass to the outside to Jones, and Jones quickly picks up the ball in case it was a lateral. Now, Ty does have a youngster who is supposed to be a phenom that I want to talk about. I don't think he's about ready to yank Carlisle, but number 10 standing over there is out of Dublin, Ohio. His name is Brady Quinn. When I took a look at him throwing the ball, I can't tell you how impressed I was by his size. He's 6'4", 6'5", a freshman. He is the quarterback of the future for the Fighting Irish. And when you watched him snap off passes in the pregame warmups, he also has a rocket-like arm. Now here comes Jones. And again, I'm not lobbying to take Carlisle Holiday out. That's simply up to the coach on the far side. I'm just trying to point out that in terms of a scheme matching a quarterback, it just doesn't seem to quite fit. And I think Carlisle Holiday is just a wonderful young man.
Well, he has the respect of his teammates because he's hanging in there, taking a lot of criticism, and is showing up. He's just not producing a lot of offense for this team. They kind of did it last year without him. I don't know if they can do it this year without a quarterback producing plays. You know, Brady Quinn has to be the answer. He's the only other scholarship quarterback on the team that's playing quarterback.
Did he give it up? Loose ball. They scramble for it. The Irish recover it, and that was Woods delivering another hit. He has been an outstanding presence from that linebacking spot, and you can see that Mark LaVore, the big number 73, back there to pounce on the loose football and save the moment. Take a look. He really let this ball go, didn't he, Gary?
This is a different look that Michigan has been using all game against Notre Dame. 3 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, and the rest defensive backs. Carlisle Holiday confused, pulls the ball down, it pops up, and Notre Dame fortunate to get it back.
So it's still 3rd down, and offsides on Michigan on that play. There's the young man who made the hit.
There's the same look again. Michigan only lining up with, let's see, there's 1 defensive end, there's a tackle, and there's another defensive end. There's 3 defensive linemen in the game again.
Now what's interesting in this 3rd and long is they have moved Jackson from safety to put him up and actually pick up a slot man in this formation. So Herman continues to move his defenders all over the field. And there's Jared Clark for the Notre Dame first down. They find him for the first time today to the 46-yard line. And, you know, we've talked about the West Coast offense and Carlisle Holiday, and Jack Arute asked him about working with that offense at Notre Dame.
When you go into a new system like this, especially coming out of a running system, you have that, you know, that thing where you want to run more when you're back in the pocket. But I think just, you know, finding what your role is, developing that role, and trying to stick to it is hard.
He continues to work at it, down 24 here. Samardzija is the motion receiver, and the Wolverines jump the running back, Ryan Grant. Carl Diggs. Well, Monday night, the return of the tuna, to the Meadowlands. Bill Parcells against Kerry Collins and the New York Giants. As Parcells says, no big deal. I took the Jets in there. I took the Patriots in there. But let me tell you something, Mr. Tuna Man. It's a big deal when you come back with the Cowboys. There's no Giant fan alive that wanted to see Bill Parcells on a Cowboy sideline. And here's Amani Toomer, an ace receiver for Jimmy Fossil and the Giants. A week ago, he had 2 receptions for 98 yards. We've got an injured member of Notre Dame down, so we'll take a break. ABC Sports presentation of college football is brought to you by Killian's Irish Red, Irish in spirit, a step up in taste. The document company is Xerox. There's a new way to look at it. Chevy Silverado, it's the right truck. And Verizon Wireless, we never stop working for you. Well, there's one of the busiest streets in Ann Arbor, especially when the students come back down there at State Street. Find a little bit of everything down there. Bagels, a cool one after the game, nice pizza, whatever you want. Second down now. Can't believe that those folks are strolling the street with the Wolverines. I thought everybody in town would be inside the big house here today. Second down of 14. Now Holiday standing in the pocket, pumps high and throws incomplete. And Jackson says, oh my, I was back there in center field and I had an easy one.
Tommy!
Our attendance today. And we send along a message to Tennessee, Penn State, Ohio State. 111,726. I'm glad I'm not trying to go to the airport.
No wonder I couldn't get a ticket.
Oh, wow.
I asked everybody for extra tickets.
And it is a gorgeous day for football. Everything is coming up wonderful unless you're wearing green and you're pulling for the Fighting Irish. It's a toughie right now. You're down 24 points.
Need to get it to Stovall. The best player on the football team for Notre Dame. They can't get him the ball.
Third down. Whistle.
Way to hold up, babe.
Can you tell them they work off of you?
9:40 of the clock.
Prior to the snap, false start offense. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Well, they've been penalized only a couple of times here today, but they've been costly. At the conclusion of the game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from Notre Dame and Michigan, and Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund.
Michigan using that same look again. 3 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and then a whole boatload of defensive backs. And this is where Marlin goes to the slot.
Move him up right there. He'll take the slot receiver, which frequently is the best for a team in a West Coast offense. And Holiday says, I'm going to do what I like to do, and there's another penalty flag. I believe that's probably holding over there as he was attempting to get the corner. And that would bring that play back. Jack, what do we hear about guard Sean Milligan, who was injured for the Irish?
Well, Brent, the athletic training staff is working on Sean as we speak. They are leaving him as doubtful, but they leave the door open that if he does recover, they're just trying to work on stretching him right now as he's down on the ground on the sidelines.
He looks a little more concerned, tied up. Well, here injured player is down.
Look at this nice scheme, Brent, that Michigan's using. Here's Shazor. Bump and run coverage over here at the snap. The safeties move here, and this becomes the robber defense. Shazer moves into the middle, and he takes all crossing routes, one safety in the middle. So you give him 2 deep, and then you move in for the man on the robber defense. It has worked all game against the Notre Dame team.
Only 79 yards of offense for the Irish. 284 for Michigan. Thinking what else is going around the Big Ten. Of course, Ohio State's dramatic win. Northwestern drilled by Miami of Ohio. Purdue with a big win today. Michigan State shocked by Louisiana Tech. And Holiday's in trouble. Got it complete. Hit Jared Clark again at the 40-yard line, just short of that first down, though, so he was able to get back a lot of what they gave up with that holding penalty.
You got to wonder now if Ty Willingham's going to say, we haven't had many chances, down 24 points, do we go for 4th and 5 right here?
9 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Looks like he is.
biggest upset in the Big Ten, of course, was the fact that Vegas, UNLV, and John Robinson defeated Wisconsin. So this would be the headline would be Ohio State and Michigan would be the high points if Michigan holds on as far as the conference is concerned so far. And of course Purdue with a very mild upset.
Michigan's coming all out.
Came a little too fast, but they say that they were pulled.
False start, illegal snap. False start. Dead ball, illegal snap. Offense, 5 yards, still 4th down.
So there are the rankings. Oklahoma rolling against Fresno State. Ohio State, triple overtime. USC was leading Hawaii. Texas will get dumped. They'll fall. And of course, they will be the one that will fall the furthest. They figure to fall completely out of the top 10. Florida State lurking there. They've got one of our night games tonight. They attempt to keep moving up the charts. And Michigan, impressive here today. Marcus Curry will let this one go into the end zone, and it'll come out on the 20-yard line. So Michigan settling in now with a very comfortable lead over the Irish. Fifth-year senior John Navarre brings the Wolverines out. David Underwood checks in as his running back. Chris Perry over 100 yards, 23 carries for 113, 3 passes for 30 more yards. Watches now as Underwood gets a play, and he brings it out to the 21-yard line. Let's take a closer look at John Navarre.
My favorite athlete is Michael Jordan because he's a great leader and he works hard. My favorite TV show is Seinfeld. Great characters. Favorite place to eat is Taco Bell. It's cheap and they get great variety.
Not eat many Taco Bells. He's lost a lot of weight around here.
Bowl of fries, a couple of chicken tacos. Johnny Navarre back into the pocket, deflected, incomplete. I guess if there's a knock about him as a passer, he has several balls deflected in the course of a season. Perhaps it's a low release. Gary, what's your feeling about it?
I think it's a little of everything. John Navarre does. It's not real high, but they have a lot of short passing attack in this Michigan game. They throw a lot of their receivers hooking up 3 or 4 yards down, and both lend to it. I think also part of his scouting report, since you get a few knocked down, the defensive line starts jumping up and trying to knock more down.
Well, here's the young man for the Fighting Irish now, Brady Quinn, up on the sideline with the helmet and loosening that arm up on the sideline, so maybe we are going to see the future. Navarre setting the screen. Perry leaps over a defender, brings it out to the 33-yard line. He is becoming an electrifying runner here in Ann Arbor. That's 13 more yards. That was stunning how he went over that defender.
Jason Beckstrom, number 9 for Notre Dame, makes a critical mistake here. You never go for the shoe tops. You got to go midsection. He goes low. Chris Perry says, goes right over the top, and that time you got power, you got hands, and you have that type of athletic ability, you have a chance to gain a lot of yards, and he is.
That's what he's working on here today. Already scored the 3 touchdowns for the Wolverines. This time to the 40-yard line. Jack, it was an interesting conversation we had with this young man. What's his nickname?
Well, I think we ought to let the world know, don't you, Brent, if you're going to move him up in Heisman consideration.
Absolutely.
Because now we're going to say loud for Heisman. That's Chris Perry's nickname. We asked him why he said his nickname was loud. He says, because I'm up in everybody's face all the time. And I've been watching him on the sidelines, Brent. And when the defense goes out, he's trying to wind them up, too. He indeed is loud.
He's having the big game on the center stage. That's what you got to have when you move on the hardware here. To the 41-yard line.
I'll tell you, I came to this game expecting Cedric Hilliard, Darrell Campbell, Justin Tuck, the Notre Dame defense, Courtney Watson, to be making plays. They are making no plays in that Michigan backfield. They're getting blocked. They're getting pushed around. And Michigan's offensive line is winning the battle. I think play calling is winning the battle. They're completely off balance, and Michigan just has all gears running today for a great offense.
Let me talk about that offensive line. Stenovich at left tackle. Boss at left guard. Pearson's your center. Lentz the right guard. Tony Pape, number 77, is the right tackle. They have kept that front clean. Here they are again, giving Navarre time. Anthony Avant, first down in Irish territory. Jason Avant, let me correct myself on that. Time permitting, stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report featuring scores and highlights from across the country. John and Terry will be coming along. They'll also set the stage for tonight. Big one for Penn State. Can they stay alive in Lincoln tonight against the Cornhusker team? And how good is Nebraska? They haven't really played anybody yet, so this is a statement game for both of those schools that have slipped off just a little bit here the last few years. First and 10 for Michigan. Play fake Navarre. Got to rush behind him. Got to take off. That's about as well as I've seen Navarre move. He felt the pressure. He took off. Gary, I think you can attribute it to that weight you talked about that he'd taken off.
Yeah, see, he's really committed himself to doing the little things necessary to make Michigan bigger. Michigan dialed, tried to get one of those deep touchdowns, but Notre Dame, watch the free safety. They're in the middle of the field this time, reads the keys, nowhere really to go with this touchdown ball. Michigan's trying to go deep, but there's no one deep to go to. Navarre turns a bad play. Instead of just throwing it away, he makes it a positive play, and now they're second and medium.
Perry is sitting on 121. He's set up deep as the lone running back. Going to stretch with him. Let him pick his daylight, and maybe a yard. That's about it as he came across the 40. And Tuck and Hilliard making the stop. And, you know, especially for you Notre Dame fans, a reminder that ESPN Original Entertainment presents Notre Dame football, the season weekly. Go inside as you follow Coach Willingham and the Fighting Irish from summer camp workouts through the football season. It's Tuesday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. And for more information, log on to ESPN.com, just part of the Original Entertainment.
You talked about that offensive line, Brent. Watch the last play. Dave Pearson, the center, he's pulling out. This is something that Michigan's doing more this year, more man blocking, more pulling those linemen and running. They're saying this offensive line moves as well as any they've had.
And, he might have wanted to follow his center a little bit that time, too. Timeout. Look at the pass chart here, Gary, for Navarre.
Well, this is, I think, something Notre Dame needs to do better. Look at John Navarre throwing the ball to the outside. That spreads those safeties out and allows that running game to go. He's been accurate throwing the out passes and forcing Notre Dame's corners to get involved in the pass game and not involved in the run game.
Edwards, Avant, Underwood the running back. Massacoy, the Wolverine tight end in this third down. If I was Notre Dame, I'd keep an eye on 88. He's off to the right side of the formation. They'll bring Babb down through it. Now they set Navarre looking left, though. Going to come all the way, and Babb's got the first down on the juggle. So Carl Tabb picks up the first down. And John, what's going on with Georgia against South Carolina and Portmouth and Lou Holtz?
Having a bit of a struggle today. David Green, a big reason why, and plenty of time. Lost this one 36 yards to Reggie Brown. Gets it inside the 5. It sets up a Michael Cooper 2-yard touchdown run. Georgia up 24-0.
Yeah, John, Lou was finally right. He couldn't beat Georgia. Lou's always saying he can't beat anybody. Here's Underwood to the 27. And great backup here for Perry and Underwood, Jack.
Oh, yeah, Brent. He's a psychic, believe it or not. He insists that he never made a trip here to Michigan around his recruiting visit. He didn't make one. He said, I just dreamt about it. He says, and then I knew I had to come here. He's also had other dreams, and one of them, Brent, he dreamt about was this game, and he said he was going to carry the ball and score a touchdown. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, down in Madisonville, Texas is where he had that dream, and they started dreaming about him, too, when they heard that he could run the 40 and 4.38. He's lined up now behind the fullback. They're going to give him another shot. No running room that time, and it'll be third down. Let me talk to you about next Saturday. Most of you will see the top-ranked Oklahoma Sooners take on UCLA in the BCS Spotlight game presented by AT&T. Michigan, Oregon, or Colorado, Florida State, other regional action. So it's at 3:30 Eastern right here on ABC. Check local listings for the game in your area.
Got that music again we can play for that Michigan-Oregon game? That might be a scary one around here.
Yeah, they'll be worried about that one, and understandably so, although this is not one of Coach Bellatti's better Oregon teams, but they're still dangerous out there in Eugene. It's a long, tough trip. And if the Wolverines get through this one and that one next week, they'll set sail at the Big Ten and hope that they wind up in New Orleans. This is a team with a chance. Underwood puts it on the ground. But Michigan has got it. Edwards has the loose football. Braylon Edwards, the wide man, #1, scooping up the loose ball unless they ruled that he was already down on the play.
How about this one for Michigan? Big David Boss, number 75, 325 pounds, pulling out and running. When you talk to the Michigan people, they say our linemen can run. And this guy ran around that time, pulled out, and made the play. They're manhandling Notre Dame. I never thought they'd be able to do that. No one did it a year ago. We saw Carson Palmer throw against them. We never saw anybody manhandle Notre Dame's defense like this.
Perry back in the game.
I'll tell you, watch this guy right here.
He's rushed for 122 yards. Edwards in motion through the formation. Big hole to the 14-yard line. Perry just tacks on more yards, and now he's up to 129. You give him a little bit of a crease like Dudley did.
I said watch 32, the opposite number. Watch him get 2 guys on this play. It's like a Brandon Drum type football. Boom! He gets both of them. Point of attack. It's like a bowling right there. Take the side of one and get the full on the other. Kevin Dudley is becoming a very valuable football player for this Michigan football team.
Massacoy, a little bit shaken up, comes to the sideline for the Wolverines, and Minery replaces him at tight end. He's on the right side of the formation. Now Dudley. Well, that time Perry pounded into the middle. What's interesting about Perry is he'll jitterbug, and he'll also take on a linebacker, Gary. He's got several styles that he can use.
Well, you know, he made a huge impression on Michigan as soon as he came here. When you talk to the Michigan coaches, Freddie Jackson, the running back coach, told me 2 years ago they loved Chris Perry. And I think that's why Lloyd Carr gave him that tough love. They knew if he turned out to be the player and stuck, he'd be a special player. So, you know, everybody was right about Chris Perry.
Especially his mother.
Well, mother's always
told him not to be a quitter. Lloyd said in his experience, when a parent shows up, the child usually transfers. And here comes Navarre taking off again. Just sort of bulls his way to the 11-yard line. Short. Well, it'll be real close. Let's see how they spot the ball and what they come up with there. Here's the rush chart now for number 23.
And look at that. That means they're running right at this Notre Dame defense. 100 yards right up the middle of this team. They don't go wide, Michigan does. They've been running between the tackles. They've been following number 32, Kevin Dudley, and those 5 big studs up front.
Well, Mr. Quarterback, what would you like to call here? If they don't get the first down and they got a 4th down, now we'll have to wait for the measurement just to make sure it's close.
6'6" quarterback sneak.
There you go.
Come on, he was supposed to play defensive end for Wisconsin. Surely he can get a quarterback sneak.
That's all he needs. Not much. Fred Jackson, one of the assistant coaches over there. And, of course,
what would Elvis Gerback call? Fade pass out to Desmond Howard?
Well, we'll see what offensive coordinator Terry Malone wants to call. He says that frequently upstairs he'll reach over to the quarterback coach, Scott Leffler, and he'll say, get me a 4th and short if he thinks that there's a possibility he won't make it. And so he's up there in the booth along with Jimmy Herman. Scott Leffler's far right, the quarterback coach. Terry Malone has sent the play down now. 4th and short, tight formation indicating run, and let's see if the Wolverines come up with a little trickery here. There's Gary Danielson's play, and there's a penalty flag.
Wonder if Notre Dame lined up off sides, or was it an illegal formation?
Perry's indicating that it's against the Irish, didn't he?
Yeah, they must have lined up off sides.
So let's, Jack, we mentioned Desmond Howard, my friend.
Yeah, let's go back to September 14th, 1991. 7th-ranked Notre Dame against 3rd-ranked Michigan in the Big House. And Desmond Howard made that catch. And right afterwards, he gave the Heisman pose for the first time. Michigan beat the Irish 24-14. That, Gary, was a 4th down play, if you remember.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Dick Vermeil and I were here. We'll never forget it. The old coach was shocked.
That's one of those audibles that the quarterback calls that it better work. I really never thought we'd see this type of football game.
David Underwood is lined up as the tailback. He'll follow that fullback to the 3-yard line as Kevin Dudley continues to blow holes open. Underwood has rushed for 14 yards. We're at the top of the hour with Michigan dominating arch rival Notre Dame 24-0. Jim Herman's defense for Lloyd Carr pitching a shutout. And remember, quite a while ago, we saw Brady Quinn warming up on the sideline. So there's a chance we will see a new quarterback for the Irish. But so far, it's all Michigan. And we'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC station. The Michigan Wolverines, led by number 23, Chris Perry, doing a little bit of everything. John Navarre hitting him for a touchdown. Perry's now rushed for 130 yards, and Lloyd Carr's D, very stout against Notre Dame. They have held the Irish to 102 total yards of offense. And now with John Navarre up under center here on 2nd and goal. Perry, the featured back, looking for number 4. Dives and very close to the end zone on that one. So this is not the kind of game I don't think anybody expected. I thought it would be one of those usual neighborhood wars.
I actually did. I thought Notre Dame would come in here and play well. You know, it's hard to say what you're more impressed with Michigan. I would say if you had to ask one thing, I'd say their overall depth. They got players at every level, at every position, and when John Navarre plays well, they're going to be tough to beat.
And they've also got the schedule a little bit in their favor, too. Don't forget that Ohio State has to come to Ann Arbor for their annual Donnybrook, and that well could decide everything again, the way things were unfolding. Navarre handing off, and Perry was stuffed again.
Could almost bet they weren't going to throw on 2nd down there.
Corey Mays, the stop for the Irish. Never too young here in Michigan to start wearing the maize and blue and listening to the greatest band in all of college football, or at least one of the best. There's some awfully good bands.
Was that one of their early commitments right there, or is that?
4th down and goal for the Wolverines. Even if they leave it down here, the Irish would have to go 99 yards. So there's certainly nothing wrong with going for the touchdown here. You've got Perry, who's already scored 3 times. Dudley to lead him, and Perry going to just walk in. Well, it wasn't a walk in, but he got there. Watson was in pursuit of him and couldn't bring him down. And that is the 4th touchdown of the day for number 23, Chris Perry, who came in averaging 208 yards a game. He had already scored 4 touchdowns. Now in 31 carries, he has rushed for 133 yards and 3 touchdowns and caught a touchdown pass for number 4. What a day now for Perry. And the Irish are licking their wounds. They're getting it handed to them here in Ann Arbor. Adam Finley tacks on the extra point. When the odds makers said the Wolverines should be a double-digit favorite, they knew exactly what they were talking about this time. This is a dominating Michigan team. They drive 80 yards in 19 plays. Timeout. Well, it looks like we're going to get a look look at number 10 Brady Quinn here after the kickoff. It's 31-0 Michigan, dominating Notre Dame, and Carlisle Holliday's day is apparently finished. He'll go off to the sideline. Brady Quinn, incidentally, has a sister who's a sophomore who's supposed to be a tremendous soccer player back in Dublin, and the Irish will take a knee. And right now, let's take a look at our Chrysler passing playbook, Gary.
It's all about decisions. You put a man in motion, Braylon Edwards, and you see what happens. He goes, 3 defenders, 2 receivers. That means the other side of the field is one-on-one. If you do your arithmetic properly, it's easier to go to one-on-one than 3-on-2. That gives you the easy pitch and catch.
Now, Brady Quinn did play last week against Washington State after Holiday was injured briefly. The only pass he threw was called back because there was illegal procedure. So the scorebook shows that he still has not thrown his first pass for Notre Dame. But he has been on the field and basically handed the ball off. And here he is now. And on first down, firing complete up the middle, finds a seam. And you're looking at the Irish future. We check in now with John Saunders on Kansas State.
Well, the future is now for Kansas State in the Taco Bell update. As Darren Sproles, remember, heard a week ago. He looks fine now. 9 yards, 24-7 was the score at that point. Sproles had 3 touchdowns and 152 yards on the ground. K-State scored the last 38 points of the game.
Another team with a chance to get to New Orleans if L. Roberson gets healthy. And here's a guy the Wolverines cannot afford to lose for any length of time. Marlon Jackson shaken up on the play as Anthony Fasano, a big burly tight end, got down the seam on that first pass. And now there, you know, you have to say to yourself, where's that play been? 19 yards, that's part of the West Coast offense. Get that tight end coming down the seam and hit him as nicely as 6'4" freshman Brady Quinn did right there. He's got great vision when he backs up, and it looks like he knows what he's doing. I mean, he's giving us the Peyton Manning out there right now. And so the Wolverines say maybe a little safety blitz, but not this time. Pound the ball to the 42-yard line. Shazer came up to make the stop on Jones, and let's check in with Jack Arute.
Well, Brent, let's give you a little bit on Brady Quinn. Bill Diedrich, the offensive coordinator for the Irish, say that it reminds him of Drew Bledsoe. Not necessarily a style of play, but his desire to play as a freshman. Quinn was still in high school last spring, and he used to go down to spring practice and huddle with the offensive coordinator of the Irish to try and assimilate the game plan. He'll need it now.
Well, already he has contributed to the longest play of the day, and the Wolverines showing blitz on this one. Looks like they want to get some heat on the young man. Throws on the slant to McKnight, and great coverage by Jeremy Lesueur.
He's already he's played 2 passes, and he's been compared to Peyton Manning and Drew Bledsoe. That ain't a bad start. Slant pass, good coverage. Lesueur is all over at that time, knocking it down. No space created. Decent throw. A little high maybe, but a decent throw.
Third down. Young quarterback are just moving defenders all over the place, and timeout has been called by Notre Dame. He wants to talk about it. Two people kiss under the arch at midnight, they'll eventually get married. That's what happened to my spotter. He got married this summer. Nice to see Catherine outside the door, keeping a close eye on hubby. Third down now. And Quinn is back. Complete. Put it into Omar Jenkins' hands. Got out of trouble pretty well that time, Gary.
Pretty good pass protection. At least Notre Dame figured out who to block this time with the 3-man front by Michigan, and allowed Olsen to hit the crossing route. Very short pass coming all the way across the field by Omar Jenkins, and 4th and short. They're going to have to go for it.
Now by 31. 12 minutes to go.
I not sure which play was most embarrassing for Notre Dame. Was it the 4th and short when they jumped off sides and were forced to punt?
Irish in the power I. You can see the yellow mark. Give you an idea. See if they've got the 1st and 10 with Ryan Grant. Going to try to pick it up. He does. Now it's time for the Pacific Life game summary. And Gary, how about Jim Herman's defense?
Absolutely. They've been running through that Notre Dame line on the stretch plays. They've been handling the power upside. They forced Carlisle Holiday to throw the ball off his back foot. And they've been all over every front that Notre Dame has given them. It seems like they've been in the huddle. They've understood the plays better than Notre Dame is half the time when they come out of huddle. It has been quite hard to believe watching this.
Still trying to get the ball into Stovall's hands here. Quinn, a little bit behind the receiver that time. Jared Clark couldn't quite get around, and it'll be 2nd down, and Quinn a little bit unhappy with himself.
Michigan playing a lot more conservatively now. They're going to let these things happen in front of them. They were really attacking Carlisle Holiday and the Notre Dame defense. They're playing off a bit now and just want to run the clock.
2nd down and 10. Jenkins split out to the right. Stovall picked up in the slot. Here's Quinn rolling to the left. Fires out a crossing pattern and too far in front of his slot man as we check in with Jack.
You know, Brett, in college football, we analyze everything. Well, now college fight songs have gone under the microscope. These are the top 5 songs, according to Dr. Bill Studwell, the Michigan professor emeritus, published in his college fight songs and annotated anthology. By the way, The Victors, it was written by Louis L. Bell, a native of South Bend, Indiana.
Hey, Jack, what does annotated mean?
I don't know. I didn't go to Michigan, Brent. I went to the University of Vermont.
He knows how to pronounce the car racers. That's enough.
I tell you, certainly two great fight songs and bands here today. As Quinn back and misfires, and now it'll be 4th down and 10 for young Quinn and the Irish.
It's kind of, I believe Michigan has a better idea to do with their quarterbacks. They recruit a great one every year. They don't get caught in this situation. Now, Notre Dame got caught because they have a transfer. Olsen transfers, and they get caught having to play a true freshman. There's no way that this true freshman can play for this Notre Dame team. They're going to struggle. They can't run the ball and find a way to run their quarterback a bit. It looks like they're going to struggle on offense.
So I guess your point would be that it would be easier for them to install a sort of an option attack, as Ty calls a timeout over there, and let Carlisle run a little bit.
Not just an option, but maybe a quarterback run attack.
Timeout. Very impressive Michigan team now facing 4th down for the Fighting Irish. They need to get inside that 40 to keep it going. Quinn forced out of the pocket, in trouble, fires on the move, and incomplete. Ball was bouncing on that far sideline, and so it has been turned over to John Navarre and Michigan, and we saw Matt Gutierrez warming up on the sideline, so it's possible that we will see him play a little bit.
Decent pass protection this time. Quinn sets back, nobody to throw to. Inside rush comes from O'Feely, and as he comes out to the outside on 4th down, you're forced to just throw it. It was close, but Michigan's playing very conservative, and now you can see Gutierrez, who did 1 year apprenticeship, is ready to play. So
Gutierrez, I think, is how he prefers to be called.
Gutierrez.
Okay. So here comes Matt under center. First down at midfield. John Navarre's day is done, and I've got a question about that for Gary right after we see 1st down. I'm sure Michigan will go to work on the clock here with Underwood. Gary, John Navarre has not been the most popular quarterback through the years here at Michigan. So now here's my question. Does this get the heat off him for good? Has this been a statement game for John Navarre, or are you no better than your next snap when you're the Michigan quarterback?
Unfortunately, I think that's what it is. But here's what I think it really does do. I think this Michigan team really respected John Navarre. They respected the way he took the criticism like a man. Now I believe his teammates believe in John Navarre. They believe they can win big games with him, and that should help the team.
So Gutierrez here with second down. Handing off to young Underwood, and we wonder how the Florida Gators are doing. Let's check in with John Saunders. John.
Brent, the Killians update. Florida, of course, trying to bounce back from that loss a week ago to Miami. Deshaun Wynn really has to muscle his way in against Florida A&M. But they get the lead, and it's at 7-0. Still 9 to go in the first quarter. Brent.
All right, John. And, of course, the Gators trying to come back from that tough loss at the hands of Miami. Game in which a lot of folks were giving up on Brock Berlin, but he managed to hang in and get the job done. And the Canes are still very much in the thick of things as far as the national championship race is concerned.
I would let Gutierrez throw on this one. A little experience would help.
And he'll do just that. And he has got Tyrese Butler first down inside the 25-yard line. Gutierrez to Butler, 24 yards, first down, Wolverines.
See, I think you have to do this. This is not running up the score. This is getting your number 2 quarterback ready. Look at that. Head goes to the left, reads the coverage, plants, throws the ball in the skinny post back to the opposite side. That's good coaching. That's good talent. That's good play calling.
Gutierrez is a big-time recruit.
Yes, he is.
Elite 11 quarterback. He played out at the great program at De La Salle High School in California. They got the nation's longest winning streak going. So this is a big-timer under center. And if there is one difference with Michigan versus a whole lot of teams in the country, it's the way they have developed quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
Over the last 10. Not to mention this young man. Remember, they thought, and the coach told him go ahead and transfer, but he hung in, and now he's a star as we check the performance track, Gary.
Did about all today you could do. He caught the ball, even the tough ones, to keep the Michigan offense going. That was a third down catch. He got into the secondary. He's got that straight arm. He's got the speed, and he has a nose to the goal line. Everything that we expected, he did. I can't kind of outperformed what I thought he could do today when he caught that 1-1-hander. That was a great play by an outstanding football player. And
there he was on the sideline living up to his nickname, Loud. He's a chatterbox. Second down. He's had a terrific game. And the whistle just prior to the snap. Bottom of the hour now, and the Michigan Wolverines are closing in on their third victory of the season.
All-start offense. 5-yard penalty.
You look down on a record crowd here, 111,000 plus. Just a gorgeous afternoon for football, and terrific performance by both bands at halftime. And for those of you who may have missed it, Chris Perry has scored 4 touchdowns. Dove for the first one, caught a pass for the second, got the angle for the third, and then battled his way in against Watson for number 4. So it's been a terrific performance for Chris Perry, who I am sure has moved now to the forefront of a whole lot of Heisman Trophy polls. It's always fun to read what the print guys come up with on Tuesday as far as the Heisman Trophy is concerned. And now he goes back to tight end, and we remind you we've had great aerial shots today courtesy of our friends at Outback Steakhouse, proud sponsor of the Outback Bowl. The Outback Steakhouse Airshift, the Bloomin' Onion One, provides aerial coverage for sporting events across the country.
These fans are a little bloodthirsty, aren't they? They're all here still. 31-0, no one's moved.
Third down and 7, and they do. They want more.
They do. They absolutely do. They bought their ticket and they're staying.
Get their money's worth. There's Michigan team here today. Incidentally, that was Jim Fisher. A lot of backups. Seen some playing time, that tight end. And Gutierrez going to use up a timeout here. 7 minutes of agony left for the Irish, and then it'll be over, and they can go back to South Bend and lick their wounds. Timeout. Well, Gary Danielson, you live in the area. There's the famous bell tower. Is there a bell up there? They ring it when the Wolverines win?
They win a lot. It might be worn out. We don't know, huh?
Mauve, He doesn't know it. What is this? All these guys around here, they can't tell me, folks, if there's a bell in the bell tower.
Could be a phone tower, couldn't it?
Here comes Underwood.
Whoa.
Stretch. Daylight. Well, let's get an update on the singular wireless poll. Which upset last week was the most shocking in college football? And Gary picked a winner. There's our leader, at least right now. The poll is still ongoing. Wake Forest over NC State. Man, what a toughie. NC State lost today, triple overtime in Columbus to Ohio State. Purdue bounced back.
Yep.
Gary, that was good for your alma mater. And it looks like Underwood's a little bit shaken up on this play, huh?
He got hit big time by Hoyt that time. That was a big collision. Nice to see the Notre Dame defense finishing off the game and not laying around out there.
Yeah, they've had a couple players.
Yep.
Watson and Hoyt have played well here today. Rimbert checks in number 20, so he'll get some calls now.
You know, we saw teams throw the ball successfully. Southern Cal, you know, Carson Palmer won the Heisman against this defense in that game last year. And I did not think that Michigan could take it to them running the ball like this.
There's your triple header later. 4th down for the Wolverines. Rimbert bursts across the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal. And Jack, this is one of the great schools in the world here.
Oh, yeah. Brand, it's time for the tail of the tape for the University of Michigan. 38,000 undergrads, 11 undergraduate colleges, and 17 graduate colleges make up Michigan. 3,177 acres. How about their research budget? But I like their annual budget of $3.5 billion. I know some countries that don't have that for an annual budget.
Yes, the truth.
Are they in the red or the black? Everybody else around.
Hold on, guys. I'll check the annotated ledger to let you know.
There you go. 1st down. And Rimbert, he's from the same high school as John Navarre, incidentally, and he's running there at tailback on 1st and goal. It'll be 2nd and goal coming out now. Okay, the last time Michigan shut out Notre Dame, you've got to go all the way back to 1902. 23-0. This would be the biggest Wolverine win ever. 31-0 right now, and they can add to it. This could be a record breaker for the Wolverines. And you better believe Jim Herman and the defense. Man, they want that shutout.
Absolutely. The big crowd, the big roar you heard right there was the taking of the offensive line out of the game. All 5 starters.
So they've got a backup offensive line, and Lloyd in no way wants to be accused of trying to run the score up here. He's got his 3rd string tailback in there. And, Rimbert bounces to the 7. On the other hand, if the youngsters put it in, so be it. That's what they're supposed to do out there, those kids that are on the field right now. And 3rd down coming up for the Wolverines, who have dominated this game right from the beginning. Let's check that Michigan schedule. I find it very interesting. I mentioned that it was favorable. Tough. Could be a trap game next week, folks. It's not easy going out to Eugene and playing Oregon. But then they get Indiana at Iowa.
That one's shaping up, isn't it?
Iowa, very well coached.
Yep.
Ferentz, outstanding. And how about Minnesota could get a little tricky in there? They could be a little bit better. Well, then you got Purdue in here. There's some minefields in the Big Ten, you know. They're going to have to show up and play the games.
Well, Ohio State found that out last year, didn't they? Because they tiptoed into the championship.
Rimbert, touchdown, Michigan. And now it's getting to the point of being embarrassing as far as the Fighting Irish are concerned. That's a 7-yard touchdown by Rimbert.
They've been running all game. Follow the isolation, follow the fullback, run through a couple of busted tackles. This time Rimbert puts it in there. He didn't have a shoe on when he finished, but he still put it in there.
Ran out of his right shoe.
Yep.
Last time I saw somebody do that here was Donovan McNabb in Syracuse in one of the great games I ever saw a college quarterback play when they came in here and beat up on Michigan. He ran out of his shoe on one play. So Rivas comes in to add that extra point. 38-0.
Big Ten football is a special tradition.
More than 5.5 million fans pack our stadiums each year, making Big Ten football what it is today.
So respect the game and show good sportsmanship, because the Big Ten sets an example for everyone to follow.
Before, during, and after the game.
Big Ten football. Good sports make great fans.
Back in the big house, and as my colleague Gary Danielson has pointed out, so many of the crowd of 111,000 sticking right with it, not leaving. 38-0 and enjoying every moment of this. Look at this crowd still here.
They must all be tailgating after the game. There's nowhere to go. Look at that.
They'd probably stick in here with Ohio State, don't you think?
Probably. You know, before the game, Lloyd was very loose down on the field talking to me and asking me questions about different things, and maybe he knew something, huh?
Well, he knows it's a pretty good football team. He's been optimistic about it. Jones returning the kickoff, and can he get back to the 20? He cannot. He's down at the 16-yard line, and let's check in with Jack Arute. Jack?
Well, Brent, this has been a great rivalry. Back in 1887, the University of Michigan was headed to Chicago to play a football game against the Harvard Club. The train stopped in South Bend. They got some of the students together from the Fighting Irish, said, hey, let's teach you this new game called football. So they taught them the game, and then they played the first game that Notre Dame ever played against those Michigan Wolverines. Michigan won 8-0. And that's when the rivalry started, and Michiganders tell you all the time they taught the Fighting Irish how to play football.
Yeah, this one's going to smart a little bit. Freshman Brady Quinn under center here again. Deep middle, intercepted.
He's just not ready to play yet. He's got a lot of potential, and he is big and strong, but that would be tough to live with if you were. You've got to figure out a way to use Carlisle Holiday.
John Shaw, a backup defensive back, makes this pick for Jim Herman's defense, looking for a shutout over Notre Dame.
He's standing in the middle of the field the whole way. The ball is lobbed 35, 40 yards downfield right to the safety. It's a rookie mistake because he is a rookie. And I think the best chance for Notre Dame is to find ways to use what Carlisle Holiday does best. Maybe not option, because that's a big commitment to run the option. But they have to find ways to use him out of the pocket with quarterback draws and throwing on the run.
Gutierrez back in. We'll try to bring that clock down, the final 4 minutes.
Michigan's got 12 guys on the field. That should work.
And it's picked up. Time permitting now. Stay tuned for the Thrifty Carvino postgame report. They'll have scores and highlights from across the country. And John and Terry, it looks like you'll have a little bit of time here to be able to talk about it. Terry can analyze what this all means. I think that all across the country, you're going to get renewed respect from Michigan coming out of this game. At home, Ohio State had to go 3 overtimes before they prevailed over North Carolina State. Michigan just rocked Notre Dame here today.
Illegal participation offense.
That's what Gary told you.
Men participate in the play. 15-yard penalty. Still first down.
Wasn't it about this week last year, though, that Cincinnati almost beat Ohio State in that game? So maybe Jim Tressel's using the same strategy, although not having number 13. We all know who number 13 is. It was one thing knowing that you might get him back halfway through the season. Now knowing you're not going to get him back at all, I don't know if Ohio State can keep it going.
Tim Bracken into the backfield here for the Wolverines. Well, we wish Maurice Clarett well. I hope that he's able to make a good decision and get on with it. He has a lot of talent, whether he elects to stay there or transfer to another school. Whatever, just put the past behind him and go on with it. Bracken stretching the defense out, working the clock, but getting out of bounds. Well, you know, here at Michigan, Dave Obloff and the SID crew have really helped us a lot. I know that Jack and Gary went to practice the other day. Got to see the Wolverines do some things, and of course, no school gives you any more information, I guess, unless it's Colorado. Colorado does load up our mailbox, so we certainly wish to thank them for all. It's always a pleasure coming here to Ann Arbor. This is one of the great venues, and the band the other day, we did a little promo, a little piece with them over there. I've never seen a group of youngsters any more disciplined and the Michigan band. Second down. Here's Brackett again. Wondered about the Bulldogs. They had a big lead down south. Let's check in on Georgia, South Carolina, and here's John.
Well, Georgia already had the game put away. South Carolina does score, and then they try the onside kick. Damian Carey picks it up, and that will put it out of reach if it wasn't already. You see under a minute remaining in the game, and Georgia up 31-7 over Lou Holtz, South Carolina.
Yeah, big win, and Mark Richt is on the move. Another team that has visions of New Orleans. Another contender. I like that David Green. Nice looking left-handed quarterback down there. Gutierrez. Got him on the quick slant that time. He hit Chris Matzos, seeing some playing time here. And for the Irish, well, Michigan State suffered its first loss, I believe, today. Now, you guys are going to check that.
I think they did. 20-19.
I don't think they're unbeaten. And Purdue came away with a win, so they're 1-1. Pittsburgh, as you look down at the
I think this was
schedule.
going into the day's games. I guess this was.
Back in punt formation, and I think that's Rima McKnight back at the 10-yard line for the Irish. And a whole lot of youngsters here from Michigan seeing some playing time, and they didn't expect to in this game. I mean, Lloyd is letting everybody play. That's a Mark Spencer.
Well, they need one more guy on this play, though. They only got 10.
5 yards. Still 4th down.
He could let one more play if he wanted to.
Oh my! Well, they straightened the numbers out. Let me thank our folks who do such a great job all week long. The executive producer of ABC Sports, nice to have him back with us. Mike Pearl, the senior producer of ABC Sports, Bob Toms back in New York. The coordinating producer of ABC's college football and the producer of today's game, Bob Goodrich. Another outstanding job by Bob. And director Larry Cam. The TD, Monty Poling. And here is the punt. Beautiful punt. Going to the end zone, but he got it up. And the associate producer, the Z-Man himself, Drew Kaliski. And the associate director, Brian Fay. Our production manager, Christy Bravey. Our technical manager, Mark Towie. The studio show was produced by Tim Weinkoff, directed by Calvin Haywood back in New York, and you'll have them in the Thrifty Car Rental postgame show coming up. The TD back in New York, Kevin Bierman. The director of production, Mark Loomis. And of course, Go Blue Mobilson himself, the spotter, and George Hill, the statistician who will head to that Monday night game between Dallas and the Giants. George telling me at breakfast that the Cowboys had no chance. We shall see, George. Don't let Al know that you're predicting a blowout. Okay.
One thing you know when you talk to Brent, nothing is off the record.
Marcus Wilson. Incomplete. Second down. Yeah, that's true, my friend. So what are you going to talk about on radio tomorrow here in Detroit? Now, what are you going to say? You're going to do how good is this Michigan team, or are you going to do how bad is the Notre Dame offense?
You know, talk radio, it's always negative. We're hoping the Lions lose.
Now, listen, my friend. A lot of folks tell me they've got a shot against Green Bay. Can they go in there and do that tomorrow?
We'll see.
Wow, be kind of interesting. The Mooch, Mariucci, grew up and went to Northern Michigan. Still, this Michigan defense, even when they go 4 deep, guys pounding in there like Lamar Woodley that time, number 56.
Recruit, boy. That's the phenom that they thought could start as a true freshman. He is huge. I bet he goes 250 as a true freshman. A lot of talent on the field in front of him, but you see what type of player he could be. This team is loaded. I can see why Lloyd Carr has said this could be his best team.
Third down and 13. Coming up, that's probably why he's so relaxed, Gary. You know, he knows this team's got a heck of a shot. Brady Quinn back, throwing underneath. And that was Samardzija, who broke off the tackle. And Gary, Notre Dame is 1 of 12 on third downs. 1 of 12. Unbelievable. So our Chevrolet players of this game, no surprise here, Chris Perry for the Wolverines, 176 total yards and 4 touchdowns, and a dozen tackles for Courtney Watson, who returned as the middle linebacker for the Irish. So Courtney certainly did all he can, but this one's going to stink. And going back deep,
this time we're going to try with 9 guys.
Leon Hall, the defensive
Here comes
back.
number 10. Well, you know, he tried to get a lot of young guys in the field. I think it's good for Michigan to try to get these guys on the field to play against Notre Dame.
Here's their young defensive back, Hall. And Michigan just emptying the bench here.
Right, absolutely.
I mean, we never expected to see this many Wolverines. There's the man of the day, the man of the match, if you will. Chris Perry and Coach Jackson getting them around over there now to bring it down. Many of this crowd still on hand.
You know what I think that Lloyd Carr also likes? I think he likes the spotlight on Chris Perry and not John Navarre for talk about Heisman. He wants to do this team as a running team. He doesn't want to get caught up in the hype about Navarre being a Heisman guy.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. The final seconds ticking down, and Jeff Castle handed off that football. So we've seen 3 Michigan quarterbacks here today, and Jerome Jackson gets a carry. So some playing time against Notre Dame, and who would have figured this? The biggest Michigan win ever against Notre Dame. But now Lloyd knows he's got to get this team refocused. A tough West Coast trip next week against Oregon. And Coach Bellotti is one of the better young football coaches in the country. He knows he's going to have his hands full. It's always a tough trip. A fumble. Uh-oh, hang on here. Time runs out, though. And it's 38-0. Take a look at the offense for Michigan. 439 yards today and only 140 for Notre Dame. The Irish 1 of 12 on 3rd downs. Let's go to Jack.
Coach, congratulations. Having a brief moment here with one of the coaches. Coach, congratulations. Now the second half, was that Michigan football?
Greg, good luck. Well, we put it all together, I think, you know, and I'm really proud of these kids. You couldn't ask any more, and, you know, offensively, defensively, and special teams. I thought the key, you know, when we turned the football over in the first possession deep in our own territory and our defense stopped them, I think that gave us some great momentum there.
Go celebrate with your team, Coach.
Thanks.
Lloyd Carr comes away a winner. 38-0 as we continue on ABC. Nothing Michigan over Notre Dame. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Keyword ABC Sports. Stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report after this from our ABC stations. So long, everybody.
8-0.
38 points, so your defense shutting them out.
You know, I think they're both equally impressive. Our offense is very talented. You know, we're going to take advantage of all the weapons that we have, and our defense is just as talented. And we know they're going to perform each and every game, and we're just going to try to match their performance.
You talk about this getting the stop, the defense getting the stop right at the start of the second half, and then you guys punching it in because you'd failed to take that 24-0 lead on the fumble. So how big was that play? Or how big?
You know, it was a great series by the defense. You know, the defense came out after halftime and was still fired up. Well, we know that Notre Dame's a team that never quits. That was apparent last weekend when they played Washington State. So, you know, we knew that we had to come out and make a statement in the second half. And that's what we tried to do.
How dominant was your offensive line at the point of attack? What kind of holes did you have?
I mean, they made great holes. I mean, the offensive line has been doing a great job all year. And like I said before, these past 2 games before this one, when they make holes like that, I have no choice but to run well.
Everybody expects this one to be a nail-biter. Any part of you that is just kind of stunned at the margin?
You know, you're always stunned when it's a victory like this against a great team like Notre Dame. But you know, our offense is very talented. You know, we have veterans throughout the offense, and our defense is just as good. So, in a way, I'm a little shocked, but in another way, you know, it's expected. We're expected to play well.
What does this game say about this team?
It says this team is on a mission, and you know, it's only 3 games, but we're focused, and now it's time to focus on Oregon.
Today you hurdled over a couple defensive guys. You know, what is that about your style of running, and how are you able to do that?
It's reacting on the field. It's nothing I think about. I don't think it has anything to do with running. I think it's just reacting on the field.
Chris, do you guys get a little tired when you're holding the ball for 10.5 minutes? Do you realize it that long?
No, I didn't realize it was that long, but yeah, of course we were a little tired, but you know, we always have to convert. You know, when it comes down to it, we have to put the ball in the end zone.
After you hurdled, you were shaking your head, like, you know, I mean, did that surprise you a little bit?
No, it didn't surprise me. I was shaking my head for other reasons. Personal reasons.
Chris, what's it mean to win a rivalry game like this as a senior? Your seniors last year, obviously in a hard-fought game, weren't so lucky. What's it mean?
You know, it's always nice to win a rivalry game. You know, it was a great feeling, and I enjoyed it for the last 30 minutes. But now it's time to put this victory behind us and focus on Oregon.
Chris, you praise the offensive line, but why are you a better running back?
The offensive line, offensive line receivers, John, and the fullbacks, and the tight ends. I did a little bit of something, but when they create holes, like I said, when they create holes like that and they block downfield, I have no choice but to run well.
Chris, you said on Monday that nobody should win the Heisman after 2 games. How many games before you're willing to talk about it?
12. That's it. That's when they give it out.
How important was it for Preston to, I guess, make the returns that he did for you guys to get started?
Oh, it was very important. You know, it was a great motivator to see him go out there and run the ball down to I think it was the 3, and then just have great returns throughout the day. I mean, he's a very talented person, and he does a lot for the team. And whenever you have a punt returner who can break one at any time, it's always a plus.
When did you see in their eyes that it was over?
I really don't know. Notre Dame is a very good team. Like I said before, that comeback against Washington State last weekend is evidence of that. You know, they'll never quit. So looking into their eyes could be you probably get fool's gold thinking that they're quitting. They're probably just resting up.
Is that the most complete victory you've made?
So Chris Perry, 3 touchdowns rushing, another receiving. We're standing by now for the coaches, Tyrone Willingham and Lloyd Carr. Once they're ready to go, we'll bring it to you live right here on ESPN News.
As many 3-and-outs they had, the field position they created for us, the turnovers. I mean, we honestly just thrived off of them. My hat is off to them. I told them in the locker room they played a hell of a game. They just did a tremendous job, and I think that's a credit to the coaches and the effort. They had a heck of a game plan. They played well, and that just gave us great momentum, great short field, and great enthusiasm.
John, the play action really worked well for you guys because you got the running game going.
Yeah, that'll be true to any game. You know, we want to get that going, and that's credit to the game plan. We see some things, and that's also credit to an aggressive defense, as Notre Dame is, and we want to take advantage of that.
After the first 2 games, did you finally see today just how well this offense can run and execute?
Well, I think you know the last 3 games we ran the ball pretty well, and it's just a credit how hard we work, and I think. We run well against a great defense like that. You know, we're focused. We're going to keep pushing, and I think you know we're on the right track. We just got to stay focused, and that running game's got to be a big part of our offense from here on out. Yeah, absolutely not. That's not what you. But I'll say this. Yeah, it's not what you expect. But I'll say this: that you know it's tough to stop a team. From playing that well when, or putting that many points on the board when they play so well in all areas of the game. I mean, we played tremendous on defense, like I said. Offense, we did some good things on 3rd down, kept ourselves in some good 3rd down situations. And special teams, I mean, we had some great field position on special teams. The kicking game was tremendous. You know, we executed well. And it's tough to stop a team like that. So I think, you know, we know in the back of our minds if we put all that together and we sharpen up those areas and play like we did today, we're gonna do those things. But you know, usually this is a typical 4th quarter game.
John, at any point in the first half, did you look at the scoreboard and notice they only had 52 yards total offense?
No, you just look. I don't know how much. You know, I'm not paying attention to that. I'm looking at, you know, the play clock and the game clock. But I think we're in the 3rd quarter. You know, I looked and I glanced and I said, you know, they only have 16 yards passing. But yeah, that's just, like I said again, the defense. I'm going to keep bringing it up because they played tremendous, and the game plan was awesome, and that's just a big credit to them.
John, can you personalize this experience a little bit, living up to the expectations, being able to beat Notre Dame as a starting quarterback? How special is that for you?
It's special. It's a good feeling. I think every day is special here at Michigan, and especially every game is special. And I take advantage of those situations, and we had a great opportunity today, and we took advantage of it. And it'll be really, really special to finish up with achieving our goals at the end of the season.
John, can you talk about the development of some of your younger receivers, particularly Jason and Carl, and what they've been able to do and contribute to the team?
Those guys, work hard. They know they've been around. Steve and Carl have been around a year. They redshirted. They know, what's expected of them. They come out and play. And Jason has been there from day one. He was there last year. A lot of people didn't know about him, but he's going to be a great leader. And he's a guy who just doesn't quit and gives great effort every day at practice, which is why he's going to be a reliable, solid guy out on the field on Saturdays, which is what you want as a quarterback. And Jason is a typical guy, a prototype wide receiver that a quarterback loves.
John, do you feel...
So we're standing by waiting for the coaches, Tyrone Willingham and Lloyd Carr. And once they're ready to go, we'll take you back out there to Michigan as the Wolverines dominate the Fighting Irish.
I have a lot of credit for the things they did to prepare this team. And, I think our defense really was the difference out there today. They gave us great field position, and anytime you shut a team out the caliber of Notre Dame, you've done some unbelievable work. But I thought our kicking game was very sound. I thought the returns early was tremendous in terms of allowing us to take control of the game early. But I thought our defensive stop after we turned the ball over on the first possession, I thought that stop was major. And so I take my hat off to our team. I think we're smart enough to understand that, today was our day. Notre Dame is a great football program, a great rival. And, sometimes the things go against you. But we have tremendous respect for their players and their coaches. And I know that they're going to come back from this. Questions?
You're surprised how easy you were able to move the ball?
Well, I don't think it was easy. I think we earned, that was a solid front. I read everything I could during the summer and fall. And of course, I had some knowledge going into it, but those front four, I mean, those guys are outstanding football players. But I think we are very pleased with the way our offensive line plays, and we've got a back that'll take it up in there. And no, it wasn't easy. It was not easy. We had the benefit offensively of great field position that was created by the first punt return, gave us great field position, and then we put a drive there together, I think 80 yards, but field position created by the kicking game. I mean, almost every time we got the football there for some period of time, we had great field position. That helps you.
Lloyd, you missed an opportunity to go up 24 zip at the end of the first half. Then you come out, the defense shuts them down, and the offense just takes it right to him and punches it. I mean, that's a huge turnaround.
Well, it was a disappointment, but I think they brought both their linebackers and Chris. Some way we got through the line of scrimmage, and I think the safety. I don't know who made the hit. It was a great hit. I mean, that's a turnover. We all coach against them. We hate them. Our players, they don't like to turn the football over, but you got to give that safety credit for a great play. He made a great play and caused a fumble.
Coach, as Chris Perry started the season, you had a lot of strong tailbacks at Michigan. Has he started the season about as strong as you've seen any tailback for the first 3 games?
Well, I think, he's left off, or he started where he left off. I thought late in the season, a year ago. He played very well. And yeah, he's off to a great start. But it goes back to the fact that we've got some weapons offensively. He's surrounded by a lot of good football players, which means that if you are going to jam up the run, then we're going to be able to hurt you some with the throw. So he's surrounded by a very, very good football team, and Chris is an unselfish guy. The thing that our team loves about him, other than his energy and his love to compete, is he's very, very good football player when he doesn't have the football. And in my judgment, that's the mark of, that's what you want. You want a guy that's willing to get his nose dirty in pass protection and do all those things.
Maybe one of his best moves was not scoring a touchdown, but hurdling one of the defensive players. What goes through your mind against that?
I thought to myself, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. I mean, he's a big guy. I mean, he's 200 and, he's under, I hope he's under 230. But that play, I mean, that was a great individual effort. And, it gave us a first down. We were going to have to punt the football if he doesn't make a great individual effort there. So, yeah, I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it.
Well, coaches go through a lot of scenarios in their mind coming into a game like that. Did one of total domination ever creep into your mind?
Well, I knew in my heart that this team had tremendous motivation. They've worked extremely hard from going back to when that season ended a year ago, the winter and the spring. I don't think in my wildest imagination I would have thought anything like this could happen. But as I said before, it was our day. Things went well for us, and but we got a lot of season to go, and I know that there'll be I can just imagine, but it's a long season, and you have to be ready to play, and dealing with success is more agreeable than dealing with losing, but it's no less difficult. And so our challenges are directly in front of us next week.
Lloyd Carr's bunch now 3-0. Last 5 against the top 10 on road or neutral sites for the Fighting Irish, and it is not pretty. Blown out in each, the closest, a 17-point loss back to Nebraska in 2001.